Alright.
Flash. We're here live.
Something, every one of us.
Everybody, king of the impossible.
That's right.
Anyway, welcome to the Arcade Hangout, everybody. We're a group of friends that like to get together once a week and talk about arcade games and television shows and Mandalorian 2, and then canceling Disney Plus right after, and watching The Boys, which is an awesome show. Go watch that. And also, once in a while, we get arcade interviews with people. I think we're having one today, I believe. Maybe, yeah. So we'll see if that happens. But that'll be a little later on the show, so we'll see. We'll talk about it if it happens. Let's see what else. I was going to say something else. Oh, we're episode 245.
245.
And we've got 500 subscribers, so yay. We're a very niche group here.
we're an acquired taste.
We are. We're an acquired taste, so yeah.
It's like Marmite.
I'm sure most people feel the same
Vegemite?
way. That's what they do about Vegemite and Marmite.
Yeah.
Ugh. I like it in the trash.
It's like how you make a Hawaiian pizza. You just cook it and then throw it in.
Yeah, that, and then have it join the candy corn and join that in the trash. Peeps can go in there
candy
too.
corn is great.
All that sweet shit can really pretty much go in the trash.
Throw that in the garbage. Anyway, let's see. We got more intro action. We are the longest running live arcade podcast on the planet.
Even in Elon Musk's car traveling through space.
In the universe, yeah, where
they pick it up on their satellite and listen.
Streaming live on HBO
while traveling outer space. What else do we have going on? I don't know. I'm lost for words today. What's going on today, everybody? Anybody having arcade news? Gak's redoing his room. Yeah.
Finally getting to painting. I bought that paint over a year ago.
Well, at least it wasn't.
Is that the brown that you're
did you expect it to be brown?
Yes, I know, right?
I hope it turns brown.
I ordered brown, but they gave me blue. I think they
used it.
swapped me and Jacobson's orders. That's what happened there.
So painting the ceiling's not fun, is it?
No,
it goes all in your face and shit.
And
messes up your shoulders.
It's so hard.
Like your typical new construction at the time when it's new, when they paint walls, they just do it super thin and fast. Like they're spraying it on like super thin, and it's like dry to the touch, And so when you actually go to paint it totally sucks up tons of paint,
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it takes a lot of rolling back and forth to actually.
And then you look up and you see like streaks, so you like have to push on the roller to sort of get the paint out while you roll it.
Yeah.
And that's when paint starts to like drip out and land on your face. And
yes.
crap.
Yeah. And then I have a packed arcade, my garage, so I got everything all shoved to like 2/3 of the room. So I can work on the other third of the room, the walls and the ceiling, So, and that perimeter, I had plastic sheeting.
I was gonna say, I hope you have it covered.
Yeah, because I only went, if you can see above me there, that the black part on the ceiling there, that's maybe 5 or 6 feet wide. It doesn't look like it at that angle there, but it's basically on 2 walls, the ceiling goes in about 5 or 6 feet, the black. Then I can push the games back out to those walls and then continue the black.
So around the lights, are you gonna like get up on a ladder and hand paint around those lights?
I did actually. I painted the ceiling at where I mounted the lights before mounting the lights last year. Yeah, so they've had like, I don't know if you can see above the fan there. You can barely see it. There's black paint on the wall, on the ceiling up there around it.
I thought you just did that like you cut in. No, you did that last year.
Yes,
that's so.
I painted when I went to mount the lights. I already had the paint before getting all the lights.
Oh my god!
And so then I, started painting around those spots before installing the lights because I knew in advance, like I don't want to have to deal with taping this off and getting too close, getting paint on it. So
yeah, we're gonna repaint my house after we're done with our floors. So I'm gonna get some bids for that because I don't want to do it.
Yeah, screw that.
We got really high ceilings. I don't want to hurt myself. I could just see myself falling off high ladder or something.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I can't feel my legs.
In this house once, and that was the last time I'm ever touching a paint roller.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Yeah.
I'm falling and I'm
much.
paralyzed. All I can do is
my
wiggle
local
my
buddies
nose.
are heckling me. They're like, what's going to be done first? Is COVID going to be over with, or is Scott going to finish painting his garage?
For what it's worth, it's looking good, Chris.
And I was like, well, technically, I started this over a year ago, so.
Or is pole position going to come out?
Yes, right. Which I actually did get the pie pole, PP pie pole, or whatever you call it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, so like yes,
the pie pole
in my cock pole. So yeah,
that's
I'm
your
still
wife's game.
Dealing with the details of it, but I think I mostly have it figured out. Like, because you don't get the actual ROM files when you get the unit, and when Arcade Jason did his kind of quick video on installing stuff, he didn't mention like you have to get specific ROMs. So it's like the 0.185 MAME ROMs. And if you just Google it, you'll get like the newest ROMs pretty much, and they won't work. Like it didn't even recognize them. So
see, that was something I was going to tell Dave from Buffalo about his MAME machine. He was talking about how he has an old system of stuff. And the thing, if you upgrade your MAME, your MAME emulator, is a lot of times, a lot of those ROMs break because those ROMs are made for a certain version of MAME. So you have to be careful about that because every time I upgrade MAME, a bunch of my games go down. So
Stop working.
Yeah, they stop working. That I go because they improve them all the time. So it's looking for a specific ROM set, and you have to go find that and see what's missing out of it. And it becomes like feel like a detective going out there searching for it, and you find the few that are out there, and you combine it with the ones you have, and it's a real hassle.
So
the best way is just to buy it from someone that has it all.
Yeah, my friend who made all
everything.
those cabinets, he's given me. I go, what version of the MAME do you use? He said this, and this is the most. This is the ROMs that go with that seem to have the most luck. Yeah, so the trial and error. But that was like, because I'm like, oh, you can help me. But he says the only thing is he's a Mac guy and he's putting all his games at Pi. He goes, I never really do the PC. It's all Pi stuff but I'll try it with his. I'm sure it'll be fine.
So when I got the games where they'll fire up now, but there's still a few issues. But some people commented in the thread on how to address that because the screen's actually like 2 inches. The image is like 2 inches wider than the monitor, so it's like stretched, and then it's shifted down like probably inch and a half. So there's like a black bar at the top. So one of the guys commented about how to make those adjustments, and I think it just depends on the monitor. It's going to show up differently on each monitor. It'd be nice if I could see him developing that maybe as a software update to where you can just go into a menu and, like you would do on your TV or your monitor, just press the button, adjust up or, horizontal width, whatever. But this one, you have to do it within text, within MAME, I think, the MAME settings. And then the other one too is the gas pedal. So when you're supposed to reach a top speed with the high gear on pole position 1 at like 244 miles an hour, and it's topping out at like 192 miles an hour. So again, that's another setting you got to tweak, I guess. But so yeah, it's pretty good though. I mean, it's almost there. If I knew what I was doing, I would have had that fixed already. But yeah.
Has he sorted out the sound issues?
No, so that's the screeching sound.
Yeah,
and that's actually a MAME issue. It's like that in MAME. So there's some guys who said what they're going to try to do is get actual audio clips from the real game and use that instead of it being some emulated sound or something. It'll be like a recorded sound.
So yeah, they'll sample the actual. Yeah,
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the things they'll be rolling out too. But Yeah. So I don't know.
It's weird how MAME works. How some games use samples and stuff like. Like Donkey Kong, I think
Donkey
it uses a
Kong,
sample for running. It's like dunk, 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 dunk,
Yes,
dunk.
yes.
That's all sampled. Yeah. So if you don't have those audio samples, you don't hear anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Doesn't it have to be because like it's all run through like a dedicated
Analog.
processor? It's all analog. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you still hear like the music at the beginning,
But
you don't hear the.
but not
boom,
all the
boom,
sound
boom,
is
boom,
analog.
boom. Yeah, you don't
Mhm.
hear the girders fall,
Mhm.
and you don't hear the running. Yeah, there's also other weird issues of certain games that don't sound right, like Mario Brothers, the one where you tip the turtles upside down. Like the way the sound effect when he runs around doesn't sound right a lot of times in MAME.
Can you demonstrate what that sounds like?
Yeah.
With your mouth.
I mean, on that
Put
one.
him on a spot.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what it sounded like. It's sort of a cheap, a chirping sound.
Yeah, it's like a
chip, 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 chip.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, I get it.
Take me back.
Yeah, something like that.
And then
Another
I don't know if you guys
request for
saw it.
running
It looks
sound?
like BitKit's got a couple new games coming out tomorrow, I think. or
Yeah, I
next day.
saw that.
Nice.
I gotta go bug Keith to reflash mine because mine. I had the Nibbler error that killed my BitKit,
Oh.
so I couldn't be part of your big BitKit thing. Oh, by the way, congrats on the Grinkers reunion thing. I watched some of that on
Oh, cool.
YouTube. That was a lot of people joined that. That was
Yeah,
really
there
cool.
was. Yeah.
It's
There was-
crazy.
It was so big, like we had to like scroll screens to see all the faces.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think
yeah.
probably at one single time there was around 30-ish people at peak, but there was
Oh,
about
wow.
40 to 50 that popped in and out over the whole night. So yeah,
Yeah,
it was pretty
that-
crazy. Yeah,
was just
especially
fun.
when everybody's
Drunk.
drinking and the drinks
Yeah.
are flowing, and everybody's like rah, 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 rah,
talking over
just-
each other and stuff. Yeah, it
controlled
started out pretty
chaos.
civil, kind of like
That's-
our show.
Yeah, I liked it when John was real drunk on the phone. Yeah, get in here. He's calling people, and you can hear
Right,
him on the
yeah.
phone.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
haven't
pretty
actually
fun.
watched the
I'm
end of
glad
it.
Steve made it too, so
Yeah.
that was good. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
so-
the fun stops.
All right, no more horsing around. We got a real
Hey.
guest here today. No.
Speaking
Everyone
of
be on
awkward
their best
screen-
behavior.
Yes.
No, don't. Hang on a second. Close the door here.
like he's using a green screen too.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't
Yeah,
want
it's like I thought you had the real thing.
you don't want to see my office.
Yeah.
You want to see what my office looks like? I can show you that. It's a mess. I don't use Zoom. How do I change it?
Go to the video on the bottom left, and then
Oh, I see it.
choose virtual background. You can turn it
Ah.
off.
You select none.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
A
go.
mess
Select
back there.
whatever you want. Oh,
Nice.
that's
There's
not
a
as much
Cylon
fun.
robot back there.
That's a cool. Hey, you got an oscilloscope and some sort of Mac and all
Oh,
kinds of good
there's
stuff.
Apple shit all over the place. I'm in my
Nice.
second go round there, so it's
My friend had that Mac in the back right there, that little square one.
and it still works too. It's,
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
it actually turns on.
Oh my gosh. If I remember
So-
right, it had like a sort of a Photoshop-y type program in it too. You could draw
Draw,
things in it.
Mac
Yeah.
Paint, Mac Draw,
So-
Mac Draw, Mac Paint, something like that.
Yeah, that was really
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, they were kind of cool at the time.
Oh, it was mind blowing.
It created something I called the Macintosh disease, where people would make flyers and they would use 20 fonts and different patterns because they had all these different fonts, tiles, and things. And it's
Yeah, and everything was aligned center.
everything was a line center. That's because you could.
Yeah.
So,
Wait,
welcome home.
Hang on a second. I have to, I'm told I have to have a drink, so I.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, warm
Yeah,
up.
everybody hold up your drink, everybody.
Cheers.
Who's everybody drinking? What Owen, what are you drinking tonight?
It's a single malt Scotch.
Oh,
Hard stuff. Well, we better make this interview quick.
He's a fantasy man. A fantasy man.
No, keep the drinks flowing, then we'll
No,
get
you
some
keep
good
going.
stories.
You
Yeah.
learn more
Get the
stuff.
real stories in about
Let's
an
get the
hour.
real Atari stories with the
I tell
jacuzzis and the
real
girls
story.
Yeah, nice.
rolling
I got
blunts.
dirt. Hey, here, let me get back to my arcade. here.
Doing blow.
Yes.
We're doing
Everybody wants to know.
Oh, so yeah, we'll
welcome, Owen.
definitely talk about Major Havoc.
Yes.
We've talked about Major Havoc a lot on the show. Actually, it
I'm
comes up.
sorry.
That's actually one of
I don't know
our
if you can see
favorites.
it. You can see the thing behind me.
Shield level.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
actually from the new release that's coming
Yes.
up.
Yeah, we-
That's a
we-
VAX computer in the center. We thought that was funny.
That
Wow.
I got that reference.
Yeah, a
what's
lot
in
of
the
people don't get
box?
it, but that's what some people thought it was a TARDIS.
Oh,
It can
yeah.
go both
I can see
ways.
that.
And
I
it
like
does
the
look like a
VAX.
TARDIS a little bit. So
The VAX is a good one.
Makes a lot more sense than a TARDIS.
Hey, Gak, who is the guy who's really good at Major Havoc we were watching
So
at CAX?
David Jury.
David Jury, yeah,
Yeah.
he designed some of the new levels.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I told him what I had in mind that I never got to finish, and Jess just started programming.
That's Jess Askey is his name.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Jess, he's amazing. So the story for him is really kind of amazing because, oh God, I don't know, 15 years ago, Jess will have to tell me how many years. I get this message from him saying, "What does this memory location do?" Seriously, it's like, what is he doing?
You're like, that was 20 years ago. How am I supposed to remember that?
You don't,
But
yeah,
sitting
right?
over on, I could probably pull it out on the shelf over here, so I can answer his questions because this was sitting in my office.
You have a copy of the printout of the code?
I do.
He does. He's talked about it on.
Oh,
So-
jeez.
I watched
I had
him at CAX talk about
Oh
this
man, look how
project.
thick that is.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that
yeah.
is-
Look at that
that
thing.
is- So I could go in and look and go, oh, that memory does this. So he
So
kept
that's
asking me,
Major Havoc right there in printout.
Every phone
That is-
number in existence is in that book. No.
that weighs, I don't know, 25 pounds.
It's all code.
Yeah, easily.
It belongs in a museum.
Now, how many
He actually has
megabytes
a
is
cop-
that in
he actually has a
code?
copy of it.
That's like 4K or something,
Two.
right? I mean,
What was the question?
How many
big was it?
megabytes in code is that?
That we worked on it about 18 months. It was
Yeah,
one of
but
the longest games
size-
we
size.
worked on at Atari at the point, which is why we didn't get to finish it. They kind of went, that's enough.
Well, that wouldn't be compiled either, so it's different.
That's all assembly code. Well, it's
Yeah.
macro assembly code, which is
Oh, so they didn't have any kind of compression or anything. It was just flat out.
oh no, it's just assembly code bits stuck in a ROM.
Oh.
And we ran out of room, so Scott Swayze designed a thing so we could add more ROMs to it. He's looking at building a daughter card to go into it that had ROM and RAM. So the question is how to get it to people legally. Did I
Right.
notes on that?
Yeah.
You have to own Major Havoc to get the update because we can't. I don't own the Major Havoc. We can own the updates. We can't own the original code.
you can make changes, but you can't hand out
Super
the
Major Havoc.
And I think it's called the Promised End, because there's a message. There's a message in the game about level 7 that says, "Keep playing. The homeworld is near." We never
Right.
got that far.
Yeah.
Atari got sued for that.
Yeah, but we told the story on the show about that guy who played it to death and got really good at it. Then he got pissed when there was nothing there, and
And
he
the
went after you
settlement was
guys.
he got an actual.
He sent a
dedicated-
picture
Great
of
story.
level 64, which is playing the last 4 levels over and over and over again. So it was like, just give him a game. I was gone.
He's basically paid for it, so you may as well.
Yeah, I was out of Atari. I was back at Bally, I was at Bally at that time, and I get a call from the VP or president. I don't remember what Dan was at the time, and he said, "What does it mean? Keep playing the homeworld's near." And I said, well, "Why do you want to know that?"
Oh
He said, "We weren't
no!
being sued."
Illegal's asking.
Yeah. So I was like, "Tell them you forgot to turn left at level 20 and try again," and they didn't buy that, so they settled.
Free
Oh,
beer
man.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Wonder what they settled for.
I know there was a game involved. I don't know how much money.
like here,
Okay.
take a Major Havoc, go away.
And
This
was
is Major
Major Havoc
Havoc
was
and-
really the last vector, right, for Atari?
No, I think Star Wars came out after Major
Oh,
Havoc.
it did. Okay.
Oh.
Major Havoc, we thought about making it a System 1 game towards the end because the arcade owners did not like vector monitors and there's a lot of hardware and code in Major Havoc to try not to make them blow up as easily. I don't draw as far off the side. I clip those things, so even though they're known, they're just not drawn. Because I don't know if anybody else you've had has explained it. There's think of it as a grid of 9 where what you're seeing is the center. So
Okay.
you're drawing, you can draw all that, so you can scroll it on and off really smoothly. The time is wrong. We had a power failure here that almost set fire to the neighborhood. So
Oh, it's like Gak's clock.
It is a clock. It's a talking moose, I think is the name of the program that does that. It thinks it's 9 o'clock or something. 7 o'clock.
Murder by death.
This
So-
just woke up.
So
So when are you guys
you
actually?
guys are really subdued. I've watched some of your shows. What's going on?
Oh shit!
Oh, we're
Well,
being
We're
polite.
behaving. There's
It's
VIP.
early.
here
We-
anyway.
we
And
gotta
we
get the
just
drinks
started
flowing a
drinking.
little more.
Thank
So
you.
what? All right. So I'll ask then. What was there another Vector after the Star Wars ones that was like in development that didn't happen?
I don't know. I think I left before that. Major Havoc was the last thing I did at Atari.
Okay.
Well, not the last. I was working on a golf simulator, and then I left.
Okay.
Hey,
had to
Owen,
lay
I'm
off.
going to ask you this one.
like-
What do you like better, Owen? Do you like the spin controls for Major Havoc, or do you like the
The roller.
the dial?
I like the
Yeah, either
roller.
the roller or the dial.
I like the roller
conversion
because
from
I
Tempest.
asked for it.
Okay, good.
They gave me a trackball originally, but when you try it, you roll sideways, you lose some of the direction, and I
Mhm.
just wanted left and right.
Right.
And Jerry Lychek and the industrial team there, okay, well, here's a trackball that only rolls in one way. Cool. I think mine has a blue spinner in it because we tried that, but the light didn't show through, so they changed it to green.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
I only have 3 games here. I have a Funhouse pinball, I have my Major Havoc prototype, and I have a cocktail space duel.
Nice.
Okay, so awesome.
And they may all get sold.
Oh,
Wow.
Think about moving to a smaller house, and there's just
I was just going to ask you which of those 3 do you play the most?
the pinball actually.
I
I know that sounds terrible.
No,
We
that's
have
music to
pinball
my
people
ears.
here
Like
too.
Tyler
You just
building
broke
the
some
other
hearts.
one.
Yeah. You
That's
just broke
what-
some hearts.
If you look at a very early game I did at Atari, Skydiver, it has pinball features in it because I was a pinball kid. I loved pinball. The lights flash, and if you do certain things, you light them up up on the screen, and you could get extra points for doing it.
We love Skydiver. I
Yeah.
absolutely
We've had it in our tournament
Oh,
at
big time,
Drinkers.
big time.
I
a
wish
few
I could have done
times.
that again today, though. There's so much more I would have loved to do on that.
Yeah, we love Skydiver. That's actually
the controls are
one of our
awesome.
favorites. Yeah, it's so.
The big ring.
Yes, it's the best.
People had
It's the
grabbed
unique
those and
controls.
pulled the game over on themselves. So.
Oh, I love the thing you pull, the metal rip ring you pull on.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Again,
so cool.
Lychek, he was an amazing. He did amazing industrial. You'd go to him and say, "Well, we're going to do a game about jumping out of a skydiver game." He goes, "We need a ripcord," and he just goes and does it.
What year was that? What year was I don't know offhand.
77, maybe 78.
Oh wow,
It's awesome.
The first game I did was Cannonball, and so I mean it's weird. I was 4th or 5th programmer there. We worked at teletypes with these little Motorola boards and paper tapes feeding into them, and so they sent me in an office and said, "Design something." I mean that was orientation here. So I poked around with it, and I started writing a game on the teletype, writing in paper, drawing on graph paper, and there was a thing that you could plug in that acted like a ROM for the graphics. You punch that in by hand, and they came in for review, and I had this guy running out and firing into the wall. And then one of the managers said, "So can we see your listings?" I go, "What listings?" They go, "Well, how would you do that?" I said, "I did it all on the teletype," and I showed them a box of paper tapes that you edited with. And they're like, "You don't know about the programmers, the operators, and the program that they're in that does that all for you and gives you a paper tape?" What? What? So my
I do
first game
now.
there was all done by hand.
Wow.
That's
They
great.
didn't like the guy splatting into the wall.
Too violent.
It's on MAME, but I just
Too
wanted
violent.
this. I wanted this splat sound, so we took a storage scope into the showers and took wet paper towels and slapped them on the floor and recorded that sound, and then I mimicked that in white noise, and it was
Awesome.
it was kind of bone crunching. It was just this guy
Wow.
splat, and I said he walks away. It's not a big deal. No.
they're being all.
So when I did
family
Skydiver,
game.
I originally did it over water because I said they're not going to let me splat a guy into the ground, right?
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. So he would splash in the water, and a speedboat would take him away. And one of the guys said, "What happened to that sound you had in Cannonball? Can you put that in here?" And so Robert Flamani, the guy who was the artist for a long time.
I was going to bring him up too
Yeah,
tonight.
he came up with the character. I said, okay, this guy falls out. What does he do when he hits the ground? So he came up with the head first with the feet kicking. That was him.
Awesome.
He did the graphics for that. I have a lot of respect for Bob. He's an amazing artist.
Yeah, so I've told this story with this group a few times, but I'll tell you. So
That never stops you, Gak. Just tell
I
us
know,
again.
right?
Just ignore them. Right?
Love that
So
story.
my wife's a school teacher, and we had exchange students a couple of years, and the lady who was in charge of the exchange students is Bob Flamate's niece. And she came over to like look at our house because that was part of her thing, like to kind of like make sure the house looks safe to allow these foreign exchange students to come over, you know? And so she, I don't remember how the topic even got brought up. You know, my wife probably brought it up that I was an arcade nerd. And she's like, oh, my uncle, he used to work for Atari. And she's like, oh, he did the art for that game that's you like spin around in a big circle. I'm like, Tempest? And she's like, yeah. And so we go out in my garage and there was Tempest right there and his signatures on the marquee.
Yeah, he did most of that. He and his team. He had a very good team, but he did a lot of that graphics. The Skydiver graphics were done by him. I don't know who did Major Havoc.
And you know, I wanted it because I've crossed paths with her at breweries a couple times locally because she lives in the area. And the last time I was like, man, like she tried to get it to where I could meet up with him because I wanted to like record some stuff, just like talk about some of the art projects he's done and stuff. But I guess he's
not well.
Senile, yeah, he's kind of.
It's probably Alzheimer's, if anything, maybe. He's still functional. Last time I saw him, he's still functional, but he just
like she said, there was a big family get together, and he was talking about it, and he had these binders with like the artwork and stuff. I'm like, oh my god, I wish I could have been there for that, like pages of all that cool artwork he did. Because even like the Atari home console stuff, he did the box art on those, like Space Invaders and stuff.
Yep.
Like
there's
really
a book
trippy.
now of the art of video games. I think a lot of his work is in there. I need to buy that. It's
and then did you guys both leave and go to Sente around the same time also?
I think he left before I did.
Okay.
So when Rotberg and Howie Dellman and Roger Hector and the guys left to go to Sente, I wanted to go, and they said, well, you got to finish this game. And I'd actually lost it because I had a manager that was clueless. No names on that one. He basically had us, Mark Stern and I, working probably 72 straight hours on something he wanted in the game. And the day of the review, he said, I don't like it, put it back the way it was.
Oh, jeez.
And I just threw those listings on his desk and said, fuck it, you do it.
Yeah.
And I was going to go because Ed said I could come over to Bally. So they asked me to finish the game, and then I transitioned to another group to work on a real golf simulator. We had built this thing where you swing a real club, hit a real ball, it hits a screen, so we record the trajectory, the swing, the head motion, and then you were going to play. That was so if it was raining, you'd go play golf.
Right.
We had that I'd say about 2/3 of the way done. And then I decided it was time to go because they asked people if they wanted to leave.
Right.
Wait, did the golf game ever get made?
I don't think so. I have the laser disc somewhere.
Well, in the mid '90s, I do remember there was a bar that me and some friends would go to, and they had one there.
It might have been a prototype. We hit into a net that was in front of a big screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
this was in Oklahoma though, in around 95, 96.
I remember those being at Dave & Buster's and stuff.
Yeah, I was just going to say Dave & Buster's is where
they may have sold the design. We even had it with a mag stripe card. You could keep it so it would keep your scores and your swing. Because we had lessons built into it. So if we saw your weight shifted wrong or the head was turned the wrong way, or we could measure all these different things. And then we give silly lessons. And then having the obnoxious sense of humor I have there. My favorite lesson is the one where there's a sand trap and the sand trap comes away and the ball is stuck underneath. This is grass on top. And we had this guy do these lessons, and he's deadpan serious. And he talks about, how to stand and twist the club. And then he swings, and as he swings, he reaches down and grabs the ball and throws it over his head. It's like, that's how you solve that problem.
There you go.
That's
it has
awesome.
to have an Easter egg. It has to be there somewhere.
That's my kind of golf.
Yeah.
Is there a
that's
cheat
a
mode where you
baseball
can
game.
kick the ball to the side?
Yeah. Like
They have one
Caddy
by me with that now. It's like you go in and you bring your clubs. They bring you. It's like a bar, and they're one side. You can do golf, you can do baseball, you can do hockey. And they hit. But it's like a hangout. Like the guys bring their full sets of clubs, get beer and wings.
Well, because you can hit a ball like a driving range. So yeah.
It's kind of it's wild.
We wanted to, it's funny. We tried to get Atari to go for it. We used the Los Gatos golf course, and we basically started the tee, and then we walked out at an angle with a bunch of people with cameras, and we took shots going all the way down the course, off to the side. And we said, if this is going to be successful, it has to have discs for all these places, like in Ireland and Scotland. And we put up a whole budget for what it would take to go film all these golf courses. It's like,
nice.
no.
So they clearly weren't doing much cocaine at that point. Then
that's it. Yeah.
That
was
the Warner Brothers
I left
days.
in '84, I guess, when things started to crash again. They kind of took a dip, and then I went to Bali, and I was there for 3.5 years, and turned off the lights and sold the computers.
Wow. So what was like one of the first games you did with Sente?
This one. Gully Ghost.
Oh, okay.
So that's Pong, first person.
Oh.
Right. You move the. I don't know if you can see. There's a character.
Oh, yeah.
You move the character back and forth, and you hit the ball back and forth, so it goes away from you. They were really into these quasi 3D kind of effects.
Uh-huh.
So this really was Pong. You could hit it off the wall, which was kind of nice. I like that feature.
And then Discs of Tron came.
Right. Yeah. It has a little bit of Discs of Tron feel to it.
The look is that's probably Flamani's artwork.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
He was there. That was the first thing that Ed Rupperg was working on that, and he went, "Oh, good, another programmer. I don't have to do much anymore. It's yours." So that was the first game I did, and the last game I did was the motion simulator Shrike Avenger.
Oh. Okay.
That has great stories too. Like tossing a kid on his head.
Oh.
So when they had
Let's
the
hear
castle,
it.
it was dangerous, right? It almost killed somebody.
Yeah, almost. Yeah. So in the way that game worked is the SAC system ran the game and communicated with a whole separate computer which controlled all the motion. And so when you first turned it on, you would go all the way to one edge and all the way to the other edge, and you would track where these ball screws that moved it. They moved up and down. They had switches in them, and you could tell when you were close to the end and when you're at the end. And you could also get counts of how far because they were stepper motors, how far they were turning. So we would calibrate it every time it turned on. So I would never push it close to the end. So it had the second switch was like a power cut. So if it got too close to there, it would just cut the power off. So it shouldn't drive the ball screw out the end. Then there was a long, tight cable that attached the motion part to the base. And it was out at Marriott's Great America. This kid was playing, and it went bang, and it just shot right upside down and whacked the floor inverted.
Wow.
The kid crawls out of it giggling like crazy. He goes, "This is so cool. Can I do that again?" Like, oh God, we're gonna get sued.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
We have no idea. None of the diagnostic information it stored said anything about it pushing the ball screws off the end, but it really pushed them fast.
Wow.
I'm happy to say that the U joint that it was balanced on worked all the way till it broke.
Oh shit.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why luckily we had a seatbelt inside, I guess. You couldn't play it until the seatbelt was buckled. I just figured it would fall out on the side because it moved this way really fast. And someone was going to fall out the side if they didn't seatbelt in. So
It was this thing. I've never seen one or seen any pictures. I didn't Google for it. So how big were they?
If Shrike, Shrike, Avenger. Let me see.
Shrike.
A bird that impales its victims on a thorn. I didn't come up with the name.
Or throws
That game was in there's a picture of it. Let me see if I can put it as my background. It was really cool.
Oh, the spaceship game. Okay. I've played it in MAME. I didn't know that was yours.
So they had a guy working on it that wasn't getting very far very fast. And they asked me if I would take it over, and I had 8 weeks. So I took all the graphics he had and I kind of ripped off Last Starfighter and tried to make a Last Starfighter game out of it. So it's got practice drones that go around, and then you do the fighters and the mothership comes at you. It was never a finished game. That's the one.
Wow.
So it never was released in arcades?
There was 5 of them at Great America, and there was, I think, a half a dozen of them sold to a distributor in Italy who called me. He called me long after I'd left Bally and said, I have 5 of these. I want a new game for it. Would you program them? And if I'd had the equipment, I probably would have. There's a whole bunch of stuff you could do with it. So you'll notice it just sort of hangs out on the edge. So it literally is pivoting around here, and all we can do is move this stuff. So that all the drive is in the back under that square, and it pivots on a U-joint. And so it flipped the back end to her back, flipped over that rail.
Oh,
holy shit.
Oh, yeah, that's a better shot of it. There you go. You can see the drive on that one.
oh, sweet.
So
I'll put a link on IRC.
I wish I had more time.
I put a video link in IRC so people can see what the gameplay looks like.
Oh, I can open the IRC channel.
Oh yeah.
This is the problem with 2 big screens. There's too many windows open.
You're killing
So when
me.
I played it, it reminded me of what was that Commander game on PC?
Wing Commander.
Wing Commander. That's what it reminded me of. Yeah, I didn't know it was Last Starfighter.
Last Starfighter was coming out at that time. If you remember the movie, it said,
"Oh yeah,
play the video game by Atari," which never came out. Yeah, that Last Starfighter, right? I actually loved that movie.
Did you ever play that one that was released? The Last Starfighter, the guy that recreated it to make it look just like the movie.
I did not.
Game.
I would have loved to do
And
that.
it's a PC game, right?
Yeah, the PC game. It was
made a whole
programmed by a doctor who likes to program for fun on the side, and he created the exact same arcade cabinet from the movie.
Cool.
Let me see if I can find links to that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty elaborate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got this huge arcade too. He's got an amazing arcade.
Mm-hmm.
I ran into him at the San Diego Comic-Con and chatted with him for a while. I was in line with him. But
Didn't
let me see if
someone
I can
also
find
do
it.
like Space Paranoids, and like people have like kind of recreated the games that were in movies that didn't really exist?
Yeah. there was a PC version of the Space Paranoids, I think. It actually used a trackball, I think.
Yeah, that was a promotional thing.
Yeah.
I don't know where all those games landed. It'd be fun to find one and just play with it, but it's not exactly something you can stick in your garage because it takes takes up a parking space. Right?
Well, yeah, especially if it flips over on its fucking face.
Just put better cable
on its back.
So who is it here who has their drink sitting on a Space Duel cocktail game?
Oh.
You okay? I like the top view of the cocktail table.
Yes, he's got the dual camera.
This is all for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
The Space Duel. Unfortunately, it doesn't run Space Duel inside. It looks like somebody scavenged the color monitor out of it, and they had leftover cabinet. The cabinet is in gorgeous shape, and they converted it to an Asteroids Deluxe.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
I've got Asteroids Deluxe in a Space Duel cabinet.
So
there was a cocktail version of Asteroids Deluxe, wasn't there?
Yes, small 13 inch. Yeah.
Yeah, that thing weighs a ton. It took 3 people. When we moved into this house, all the video games were in the back of the big truck that the movers had to bring, and they got to the back, and there's a piano and about 8 video games and a pinball machine, and they got
like your movers.
You really don't like us, do you? I didn't realize that I could have showed you that. I have that. Let me turn off this stupid background stuff. That's the cell sheet for that.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
If I turn that on,
Shrike,
does that make it easier to see? Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, that's great.
That's awesome.
That's right. So, and I don't know if you have the IRC running or not, but you might want to get a kick real quick just to check out the YouTube video of the Last Starfighter arcade machine by Rogue Synapse. That's what the doctor's handle is. I put a post up there.
That is really cool.
Isn't that neat?
That is great.
It looks just like the movie. And
so has anybody talked about that at Atari that what happened to that?
Maybe we can get away with like a few seconds of this.
That is really cool.
Yeah, how amazing is that? That's just
If you beat the high score to some guy in a flying car.
Rubber face. Yeah.
Yes.
Rubber face. Yes.
In a limousine.
So while I was waiting in line to get into the Comic-Con, I was sitting next to the guy that programmed this.
Cool.
And we were chatting, we're waiting there for like an hour, till we can get in. And he was telling me how he would just watch it over and over again. He's like, I'm going to make it exactly like the movie. You're going to do everything you do in the movie. You're going to hit the drones at the beginning, and you're going to, eventually you're going to make it to the mothership, and,
Did it talk like it too?
It does that. Yeah, it has
greetings, Starfighter.
Greetings. Yeah, you can actually watch the gameplay on another video on YouTube.
That's I'm gonna have to look that up.
So now the guy needs to get like a mobile home park so you can play it outside.
Yeah, you have to make it waterproof. That's
yes.
Yeah, you can download
and
it for free.
At time, I would have ripped off the graphics. I mean, we would have just. So in Atari, they were going to make that, and they had come up with this game development system that was supposed to be a rapid prototyping and game system, and that's where they started the last Starfighter game, and it got along pretty far. I don't remember who was programming it. And then they just, how do we get it into arcade? Because it was like a big PDP-11 machine it was running on. And they kind of hadn't got that last step quite figured out.
Was it like Cloak and Dagger, where it's you see the movie version, that was the arcade version, not the home version. And then the home version never really comes out, and then Kerry gets the arcade version.
That's right.
It was a cartridge in the movie.
Yeah, it's a cartridge.
Designing the final wave in Havoc, Major Havoc. I wanted to steal the thing where Havoc goes into an elevator and it goes down, plays sappy music, and he stands there and taps his toes.
Yeah.
Just tried to do it. He said he just couldn't make it look good. So it's the surprise is it's going to land on something everybody will recognize. That's the only thing I'll say.
Awesome.
It looks really cool. Jess has done some amazing work. The guy blows me away. I started to tell you that he kept asking me those questions, and in the mail I got a set of EEPROMs, and it added 4 levels to Major Havoc.
Wow.
There wasn't room in the ROMs to add 4 levels to Major Havoc, so he had compressed things down and rewritten stuff to make it work right.
Crazy.
He's
awesome.
Amazing programmer. I think he bit off more than he expected on this project.
Well, he's been working on it for a few years, right?
Yeah, he actually asked me to write up, and I review the stuff that they do when I have time, what I plan to do. And then he wanted to add more waves and get, I just forgot his name again, who's playing them, to write some waves. And then I thought they were way too hard.
Oh, Dave Jury?
Dave Jury, yeah. Dave Jury did some waves that I thought were a little too hard. I think Mark Cerny's waves are a little too hard, but
yeah,
it's a home game now. So, right, it's not going to be playing arcade, so you can put in as many lives as you want. We'll have an unlimited lives mode. You can get through it eventually and actually get to an end game.
I would need to do that because I can get to like the 5th level.
I know.
I'm not very good at Havoc.
Do you play them in order or do you jump?
I played in order, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even really know how to use the warps because I've never tried or
I spent
studied that
about
part.
6 months leveling that game so that it was it stepped up very gradually.
Yeah, it does.
A lot of my time was on that.
Yeah.
So Owen, there's a level, I don't know how many times it's in the game, but there's this really neat part that a lot of people have not seen that I've actually gotten to when I used to play it a lot in Major Havoc. But there's this part that after you activate the reactor, you can run to this area and get into like a little like shuttle that looks like a little rocket, and it shoots up and then it crashes next to your ship and you get out of it, and then you can run to your ship and launch. I don't know how many times that can happen in the game, but
that's only in there once, I think.
Oh, it is only one. I thought it was just amazing.
That's my obnoxious sense of humor.
I love that part.
It's hilarious. Yeah.
Let's put in an escape pod,
Which
it's an escape pod, yeah.
Which immediately crashes.
Yeah, and it crashes right next to your ship. Yeah, the nose crushes in and everything.
Yeah.
I didn't say it was finished. Just
I don't know. Do you remember what level that is?
Somewhere around 7 or 8, I think.
Okay.
It's
back when I was good at the game. I can't do it on my MAME cabinet. I have to do it on our actual arcade. So it just isn't the same. Yeah, it's it's MAME. What are you gonna do? But so I can't afford a regular Major Havoc.
I'll tell you a funny story about Scott. You know Scott Swayze? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yes.
So Scott has been building a board that plugs right into your vector monitor that plays vector games, Atari vector games. And so when I first met him, I was at California Extreme, and he comes up and he goes, "Hey, I brought my Major Havoc, come play it." Okay, so I went to start to play it, and he's not watching the game. He's watching me. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? What are you doing? He said, just keep playing. And then I played, I don't know, 4 or 5 levels, and I finally said, what's up? And he says, what didn't feel right? I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, you had this weird look on your face at times. I said, well, you what did you do to the control? Because I don't know if you remember Major Havoc, if you spun it really fast, he would kind of stutter because it would wrap. So he wouldn't just run fast, he would stutter sometimes. I said, that's gone. And he goes, oh, what would it do? So I played it on the game next to him and showed him. He's writing stuff down and taking notes. And I said, the sparkling vectors aren't right. What did you do to that? Long story short, it was his board that is playing the game, not a real Major Havoc board. And I said, well, it's pretty close. He goes, I don't want close. I want forgery.
Right.
So he wants to put in the mistakes. And it's funny. When he was working on it, he called me and he said, do you know there's a hardware error in the way you did the sparkling vectors? I said, I'm aware.
Don't say.
How about the maze levels are really neat. I always thought that was a neat way to work. I've never seen that before in vectors, how they were kind of weird moving lines. I can't explain it.
Game. So the original game was called Tholian Web from the Star Trek episode.
Right, yeah.
In fact, if you look at these listings, this is kind of funny because if you look at the listings, they say T-Web on them. Let's see if I can find one. Because that was the original. So
Star Trek.
And the circuit board has it printed on it.
So that's Tholian Web things.
Yeah.
That's the things listing. But they're all TW because it was called Tholian Web. Because I wanted to do this space game where you flew through these things drew mazes and you had to fly through them. And then we played it and went, well, that's great for a small thing, but it wasn't a whole game. So Major Havoc just kept growing.
Yeah, it was really neat.
I wanted to throw as much stuff as I could rip off from other games as possible.
And that's another thing that doesn't translate well in MAME either, because you're not using a vector monitor, so it loses the cool, glowy, sparkly. I can't explain it, but it doesn't look
the
right.
Vectors do sparkle, change colors as they're being drawn.
It's not the same. Yeah,
that's a Doug Snyder trick. I said, how do we do this? Can we just read it from the address and data lines instead of the color RAM and have it just randomly select? He goes, I can do that. And so when you pick that particular color, it just gets random data in address lines. And Scott pointed out that we used the wrong lines in 2 places. So that's why the colors aren't as sparkly as they should be. And it looked even better, but it's not a forgery, so he has to change it back.
He has to make it. He has to make them same mistakes.
He said that in California Stream. He said, "I'm not trying to make a copy. I'm trying to make a forgery."
Yeah,
and I love that. I think that he wants it that accurate.
That's great.
Wow.
So I plugged it into my Major Havoc, and my monitor wasn't fast enough to draw the vectors at the speed he does. So it requires a good monitor, but he's going to tweak that down. So I even play with vector. Oh, I don't have it plugged in. I even have a board I built that draws a clock face on the scope, but I don't have it plugged in at the moment.
So can we talk a little bit about Space Duel and how evil it is that when you're connected to your player and you get hit, that you're a piece of shit after that?
So makes friends enemies.
There is a reason for that, because that game originally started. A guy named Rick Maurer started that game, and he lost it in about 30% in, and said, "I'm not doing this anymore." Sorry, that light is flickering. And he walked out, and my boss came and said, "Yours." Okay, great. Let's make a game out of it. So the problem was if you're playing collaboratively and you run out of lives before your other guy, you just stand around and go.
Yeah.
Right. So I said, well, I'm going to bring him in as a nose cone, and you can, like a Space War had, you can get, but I give you 1 shot and a little bit of thrust, and you can actually earn enough points to get another life.
Oh, see, I was always wishing it would be like once you got to the bonus level, boom, you could get rebuilt again. But you made it really hard. I guess it's because you guys are making it so people can put in quarters, and
that's right.
Yeah. But I was just like, oh, why can't you pick up a power up or something where you come back? Or
we were told 90 seconds.
Yeah.
And there is a power up in that I was actually told probably wasn't a good idea, but I did anyway. In the where you're separated, if you shoot the other guy, he comes back with full shields. So get out in front of the other guy and get shot if your shields are low, and you come back with full shields.
Oh, okay.
And that's the other bug is if when the bar is around, you have about an 80% chance if you bounce along one of the edges, it'll bring your shields back ultra bright because it wraps the counter. Because I don't know how to do math.
There's no math, right, Mark?
There's no math.
This isn't about math on this show.
It's like it went from like 5 to -6, which is just a big number in 8-bit. And so you get super shields, and they last a really long time. But occasionally you will blow up. I'm going to turn this off because it's driving me nuts. Sorry, it's a little darker.
No, all good.
Maybe I can do this one over here. Let's see, is that better?
So do you happen to remember how many shapes there are in Space Duel, like that you fight? Like there's cubes and there's stars and there's, all these different things that you shoot. I was just wondering how many are there, because it seems like it goes on and on forever.
The last one is the nuclear thing with the little nuclear symbol glowing red in the middle.
I don't even think I've seen that.
But the way they go is you get object 1, then object 2, then object 1 and 2. Then you get object 3, then object 1 and 3, and 1 and 2, 3, and then you go forward. So it to make it last longer, it mixes the levels.
Oh, and it keeps adding too.
I just think about how many that starts with. It starts with the little stars, and it has the book symbols. I'm trying to think what's in there. The boxes. There's probably 5 or 6. Now you're gonna make me go turn it on when we're done.
I was just wondering if you remembered.
I don't remember, but I have that listing over there.
Yeah, I just thought that was a really fun game to play. I have fond memories of playing that game with a friend, and just see how long we can just survive. It was a really fun co-op game. Either way, if you do it where you're connected or separate. I like connected better just because we can shoot each other.
So originally that was supposed to be just a collaborative score, and I put the individual scores back because I found people would taunt each other. Hey, you're not holding up your end of the side. You have 12,000 points and you've got 9,000 and you've got 3.
But you really had to work together on like thrusting around and stuff. Otherwise, you're gonna be spinning all crazy and crap.
All done without math. all table driven. I had the joke title, "Going No Math, Ruben." So Major Havoc does not have a math box in it. All that 3D is faked.
I'm told this is a Major Havoc board, by the way.
Does it have 3 processor slots? I can't see. Let me zoom up.
16502 over here, and then
there should be 3 slots if there is.
Enhance.
Two pokies.
Yeah.
So
hold it up towards the camera.
2 pokies. And then the right side of the processor, there should be a. Yes, there's a processor to the right. You can. Whoop. Captain, stars went out. Hang on, let me zoom back out. So that's the processor and the two sound chips right there.
Yep.
And on the right side, one should have a socket. That's another processor right there above the silver square. And then towards the upper right, there should be a space where a processor could go, but it's not there. They may have taken it off the final board. Originally, it was going to have 3 6502s.
Wow.
And it could be a Major Havoc board. It's possible. It looks like it.
Really?
It's a stack, son.
Yeah.
No, it says Space Duel down here. So
is it a Space Duel? There were similar boards.
It says Space Duel down here.
Oh, okay. I don't remember it having a second processor though. Major Havoc has a. I don't know if I have my board here. It's probably back in the machine.
I don't know if it's a processor. AMI 8208. I have no idea what that is.
Oh, maybe not. Okay.
It's a Major Duel.
So the math box that they used in Battlezone and Tempest was expensive and had to be reprogrammed every time, which meant Mike Alba had to redo it because he's the only one who knew how to program that thing. And I didn't want the cost because they said, they're not doing any more math box games. So when I talked to Doug Snyder, who was the hardware engineer, I said, can we put like 3 processors on it? And he goes, well, how do we do that? So we kind of drew it out on paper, and he said yes. So he brought it up as a 2 processor game and hadn't put the 3rd one in, and it turned out that was enough to do most of what we wanted to do. So it acts as a co-processor. I hand stuff off to it, but there is really no 3D math going on in that. It's all table lookup. And if you played it, like the software is drawn on a rectangle, and then the hardware warps it out onto the screen. So it's actually, that's why the shot curves when it comes down, because it's the warping of the square, the rectangle playfield being squished, and it makes that wonderful curve ball. And I didn't try to fix that because I thought it was excellent. So I want on Space Duel. I have to throw a bone at Steve Calfee, that my manager at the time, who said he hated the fact that people could play so long on asteroids. So those little blue mines that float around. Yeah. This is not negotiable. Has to go in the game, and you can shoot them, and all it does is they turn through colors, and if you shoot them when they're white, they just get thrown off to the edge. So if you're really like desperate, you can shoot them really fast, but it doesn't get rid of them. Now it's to keep people from lurking on the edge of the screen like they were doing in asteroids. So.
Oh.
So I think I read some story that asteroids, people could just keep it running for a very long time, and
you go back and forth on the edge every time.
Then,
that's a Jimbo.
The first version of Asteroids Deluxe came out, and it was extremely hard.
Yeah.
To the point of frustration, and they had to release a second ROM version to make it a little easier.
Those things, that star thing that would break apart, they would just swarm you like bees. It was like you're dead. You had to fly backwards and keep shooting. And hope you get them all before they kill you. Yeah.
And the arcade I hung out at the most in my youth, when I got down to my last quarter, almost every single time it was Asteroids, because that's the longest I could last the longest on that game with one quarter.
The operators hated that. Operators hated that.
Yeah.
Right? We were told the average game time should be 90 seconds for a quarter.
Oof.
So the Star Castle wave, which is this thing, which he's put back in. This Star Castle knockoff. The original had a spaceship in the center with 3, 4, or 5 guns on it, and unlike Star Castle, when you knock out the shields, it didn't grow a new one. It just got angry, and that thing would just move back and forth and lob these fireballs at you, and it was just way too hard. But people could play it for about 4 minutes. They could drag it on, so it got pulled from the game. When I told Jess about it, he goes, "Oh, that's going back in at the end." Backs in the center. So if you know the last, there's 4 levels and then 4 levels and 4 levels. The last one where those pink lines come down. What would happen is when you'd hit a shield, it would collapse and fall like that pink line. So those pink lines are the shields collapsing around the Star Castle. So I just left them in there to make it a little bit harder.
Yeah, they're tricky too. Well, I've watched people play it.
Draw them to the edge and then fly to the other side. Just watch.
They fake you out.
The ships, there's a Galaga move in those ships where there's 1 followed by 2, and if you hit the front one first, the other 2 will dive bomb you, or just shoot right at you. That came out of Galaga. I just played a bunch of games and stole stuff. Things I liked in game. I mean, he running around the maze is really a Pac-Man like thing. It's there is the big robot that Jess said he brought back. It was Max from Black Hole.
Oh yeah. He showed it to us.
So Max was going to be this thing that if you delayed in the maze, it would start chasing you through the maze, and you couldn't destroy it. And it would fire shots at you, and that just wouldn't have time to put it in the game. So
they have like helicopter hands.
I don't remember. No, I think it was just the outline.
Okay.
Jazz hands.
Yeah, jazz hands.
That would have been cool.
Jazz hands, yeah.
Anthony Perkins killer. Hey, we have a question in chat for you. So what was your favorite project that you worked on out of all your projects except for Major Havoc? What would you think was your favorite game project and why?
I actually liked doing Skydiver because it was a fun project. It was quick and fun, and doing the splat noise again, getting to bring that back was really fun. The hardest, which I liked, which was fun, was Orbit, which you don't see those around very often.
Orbit.
So Orbit was
one that had like 20 volcano buttons.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I have the control panel.
Oh, I think that's been a California.
The most buttons on an arcade game ever.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm looking at it right now. It's crazy.
So what
try to
happened
reproduce
is
that these days, you'd go bankrupt.
So what happened is the VP of marketing said, "People love Space War. Can you knock it off in raster and you have 30 days to do it?" Why? We're going to sell them in Europe because Cinematronics can't get them to Europe. So we built that in 30 days, but it had to be different. So I added the orbiting space stations, which again don't use math, but they are not on tracks. They are actually orbiting. If you start it and let it go, if there's some way you can keep it just running forever, they will eventually start getting way out and go off the screen. The orbit will decay eventually. That's where it got its name. Someone challenged me to do that without math, and I did.
Crazy.
There it is. Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's
Holy
so,
buttons
you
back.
remember Space War had the 10 key buttons in the front.
Yeah.
So one of the things I hated about Space War is once you put money in, you got time. And once you picked an option, you were stuck with it.
Stuck with it, yep.
Accidentally turned on negative gravity, you were screwed. So I added a wave reset and a game reset button where you could clear all the options and turn them back on again. So every one of those buttons was lit, I think, except the hyperspace ones, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. I don't think I ever saw an orbit in the wild in my youth.
So Super Expert was like, heavy gravity, wrap around, really fast shells. So the biggest mistake in this game was it was not enough time to really test. I had a very good monitor when I was doing it, so the shots looked fine. So they were 1 pixel. And most of the ones in the arcade, the brightness gets turned down so low, you can't see the shots. So you just general direction and fire.
Crazy.
That was not the first cabinet, though. Can you find the image of the first cabinet? The first cabinet was this big, tall thing with a high-tech touch panel, which is why we did it without buttons at all. They were all touch panels.
Oh, damn.
And then they said that was too expensive.
And you didn't you do this the sea brig or sea breeding or something like that?
Yeah, the game that doesn't exist. I don't know if I have a cell sheet on that. I used to have the little cardboard.
And the cabinet became the Missile Command cockpit, right?
Because it could use a smaller monitor. So when we did Sebring, there was a 25-inch monitor installed color monitor installed over your head that pointed at a mirror with a Fresnel lens in front of it. So it gave it a real depth perception. But the cabinet was very top heavy because that was a big monitor in those days, a lot of glass. And people were freaked out that there was this big monitor hanging over your head. You didn't see it because there was a piece of wood there. But when we put that out on field test, Rick Moncrief, who was working with me did some work on that. I was out playing the game. I go, smells like burning oil. And he goes, oh yeah, I put a little can of oil on top of the transformer.
Why?
So it would smell like an engine. Like it would smell like it didn't get hot enough to catch fire. It would just smell like hot oil. So it kind of smelled like the inside of a race car. That's what he thought. That didn't go out as a feature. I'm happy to say.
Right.
Because exactly that
deluxe
reason.
version.
It would burst into flames. That would not be good. Yeah.
I mean, that would have been a real race car there, but.
So that was a knockoff of a game called F1.
You win. You have monoxide poisoning or something.
It just gave a little smell. And I think he said he could just wipe it all over the transformer. Don't do that. You remember
wipe it on the transformer?
Just get it in with all the contacts there, all the taps.
Put some alcohol in there while
What
you're at
could
it.
possibly go wrong?
There was a game called F1. It's funny, Atari seemed to it has an Atari logo, and I thought it was a Japanese game, but maybe they so it was a sit down. Yeah, there's a picture of it. There's actually a video of it here. I'll put. How the heck do I get that link?
Well, you can should be able to do a screen share if you've got it pulled up in a browser or something like that.
Yeah, I can do that. Well, of course, it's Zoom. I don't know how you do it in Zoom. The big green
down
button.
Middle, yeah, big green button.
Yeah.
Yep.
Share your screen.
Yeah.
Then I have to know where it is. This one. Hang on a sec. I have to do this because I'm on my work machine, so I have to hide everything else, don't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your secret projects at
Oh, believe me,
someplace.
There is a lot of concern over. So does that if I do that one, does it show?
I've told them stories.
Yep. Wait a minute.
But I don't know.
Something interesting.
It ended the video. There it is.
Oh, there we go.
So you sat in and I don't know how to. Can I make that full screen? Yeah. You
Look at
sat
that.
in this
Oh,
thing.
pretty cool.
The sit-in car.
Oh, I remember
that.
that.
Was a
I
projected.
remember that
It's
too.
projected,
Oh, that's
yeah.
right, yeah.
When I was a kid, I remember that.
Wow.
It's a mechanical thing, right?
It was like a projected background, like that looked real, like a real.
Well, I don't know how real does that thing look.
Not what I mean by real, but like a real like a picture with light through it or something.
It was a plastic disc with a graphic on it.
Yeah.
That spun, and then the car was on a stick that the steering wheel moved to, and the cars would come around were on sticks, and they would tell if they hit each other.
Wow.
So I said, I can do that electronically. So that's what Sebring was.
Didn't it have like a projected explosion or something in that one or not?
It would flash the screen. And
what year was this?
It would get like large, like.
That's a good question.
I remember this.
That F1 looks 70s to me. Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I played this at my old arcade.
That was probably you're right. Probably late 70s. Yeah.
Wow. Boy, that's a blast from the past. I remember.
I haven't seen that at all, but I remember it playing.
I remember the projected explosion. It was a still image of like a red explosion that would like. It had some scaling to it where it just go boosh.
Yes. Brighten up and down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, those are the good old days.
Something work just came in. It's Bob Flanagan. Bob, come on, say something. You must be watching. I watched you.
He is watching.
He's an amazing programmer. I really like Bob. He says so well. So we're reorging. It's the Apple time of the year of the reorg. So
were you there when any of the Laserdisc stuff was being developed, like Firefox or anything like that?
I was sent to MIT to take a summer session from the guys in the media lab on how to build laser discs. So I spent 2 summers at MIT learning about how, and I came back and said, don't do this. because it's hard, and B, the Laserdisc players weren't meant for an arcade environment. They're just going to break. I mean, I don't know if you ever owned a Laserdisc at home. If you even tapped it, it would skip and jump, and you'd end up. You want to put that in a game, okay? And of course, they get hot and they work even less well. So
yeah,
I was working on Battlestar Galactica.
I was just going to ask you about that. That was my next question. So you were the one working on that.
Yeah. So there's 2 games I wanted to do in Laserdisc. And we went down to Universal and got to look at footage. And the one I really wanted to do was Knight Rider. Because what's really cool, and unfortunately Universal said, will not happen. So if you've ever watched Knight Rider, you know, as you start to see the car jump, it always cuts away to him going, woo! Right?
He lands.
Because you can't see what really happens to that car when it hits the ground. It folds the hood up.
They destroy it.
Yeah.
It destroys that car. And there was footage of that. And I said, wow, we could have, like, if you do something wrong, Kit gets crunched.
Oh, God.
And it would just have been so cool, right? And they said, no, will not happen. You know?
Yeah.
Which was too bad, because
that's brilliant. We could use all your crappy footage. Just send it to us. We're going to use it in this game.
Yes. You're making a game. You're gonna do things wrong, right?
So I don't know if you've seen this before or not, Owen, but someone ripped what was built so far for Battlestar Galactica, the Laserdisc game, and they have it just running. What's that?
The Laserdisc got out.
Yeah, Laserdisc got out, but you can't watch they just play it from beginning to end, but that's not how it worked in the game, because it would play parts.
It jumps like this, you know.
Yeah, so I just put a link in the IRC if people want to kind of see what it was about, but you're seeing like 4 scenes, but every 2 seconds of each one. If you played it in the game, it would edit those together correctly.
So
it's hard to explain, but
here's the problem with the Laserdisc.
Yeah.
Unlike CDs and DVDs, which got better at it. When you were playing this track and you wanted to get to this track, it took some time, right? So, in fact, you're seeing it that's the raw footage.
Yes.
So what you would do is you would make short little segments, and you jump between short segments that you could do. So you could stitch them together. So sometimes when you see things flickering back and forth, you just play every other frame. And when you want something to happen, you just play the opposite frame those frames, and that's when an explosion will happen, or you can go off and do something well. And that was the very early. So that game was going to be, very much Firefox-ish. Go out, fly, shoot down Cylons, and then you have to come back and land. And that's what that thing is with the landing bay turning. You have a joystick, and if you turn too far, it rolls this way and it rolls that way.
Oh, okay.
That was what was going to happen, and we never got much further than that.
So was that done so it's like quicker to seek to the frame, like for an explosion or whatever? Yeah. Okay, so it doesn't take so long. So like Dragon's Lair, it goes to a black screen. You got to wait for a second, and then it plays the death. Your method, it was like it would have been almost instant, right?
So today you could do it on the hard disk, right? So, yeah, really easy. But there, the black screen is jumping to the next segment. But so when I took this class at MIT, they had a project there called the Aspen Project, where you could drive around Aspen. And so they have a problem is you're driving down and you're coming to an intersection, and you can either go right or go left, but you have to seek to the right place when you make the turn. So they had a second Laserdisc that had all the turns, and the main Laserdisc that had all the straights. So they would seek to a spot and play in reverse a backwards recorded image of turning right, or play normally to turn left. And while that was happening, the first Laserdisc would seek to the next street, and they would just switch the video again. And it was a very clever. It was really kind of a cool idea.
Before we had digital frame files or whatever.
Right.
But the fact that the Laserdisc could play things backwards very clearly, they just used it to play the turn to this way. But so if you watched that normally, you would be backing through the turn, but they played it backwards. So you.
It's a good thing they picked a town with like 4 streets too.
Well, going straight ahead was where you were. So if you just went straight ahead, you just kept driving on that same track.
Oh, and I don't know if you know this, but Andrew was starred in a film called Aspen Extreme.
I grew up in Aspen.
Is that right? Seriously?
Yes. He was one of the leading actors.
Yeah.
Leading extra.
Wonderful.
He's a leading extra.
Yes.
Leading extra. He was the lead extra. In that
you had a total
uncredited, by the way.
Yeah. Your screen time was what? Maybe 2 seconds, 3 seconds.
Then Gak freeze frame it and put it in.
You were tall skier number 4.
So Owen, I have a question about Battlestar Galactica real quick on the landing sequence. So if someone's controlling the steering, was it playing the video accordingly to how you're moving that stick, or was and slowing it down if you're moving it slow? And was it doing that?
I think it's stepped by quadrants. It was going to be in the original prototype we did, because we didn't have all the video.
Okay.
So, but you could play it slowly and hold it in a position because it didn't matter. The angle was you couldn't see those strobing lights that were on in the original film, the TV show where there's and I never understood why the bottom of those fighters had skids and not wheels.
I know. They kind of cool. Like went up and then straight down.
I'd say smack on those skids. Like, how long does that last? Starring
straight down.
Way. I never understood that. I'm trying to see if I can find the Aspen movie map. That might be there might be I'm trying to see if this is actually a real.
Why were Cylons 3-seaters and not 1 like the Vipers?
So Mock, I think around the same time that Battlestar Galactica was Roadrunner, right? Weren't they working on?
The Roadrunner Laserdisc game. Yeah.
Yes. So the original Roadrunner was really cool.
It was.
All the moving backgrounds were actual real cartoons. And then they would do these like the Roadrunner would get hit by a truck, and it would go, "Did you see that?" And it would play a picture of an actual cartoon of the Roadrunner getting hit by the truck. They would intersperse those cartoons, and that's when they realized putting Laserdiscs in arcade games was a really bad idea. So Log had to redo it with regular graphics, which is too bad because it was really cool.
What's funny is I have a Laserdisc player in repair at a repair shop right now being repaired.
You found a place that would repair it.
Yeah. A guy. I'm in Buffalo, New York, and the guy's got like everything old tech stacked.
Cool.
I dropped it off in June. I haven't heard from him since, but I don't care because my Dragon Slayer stuck in Canada. I can't get it out of Canada. So and then I'm in no rush. But it's weird.
His name is Hans, not Franz.
No, right. But he also repaired my Betamax. So
right here, you have
Whoa.
Dude,
I got a working Betamax. Yeah.
I have 2 of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
I almost bought another one in the state sale, but it had a corded remote. It was only $10, but I'm like, what do I need another one for?
Okay, wait. Okay,
Another-
we're gonna go there. I'm gonna show pictures. Hang on.
Betamax Hangout.
He's a beta fan. Beta fans are really passionate.
A beta head.
They love beta.
I gotta see if I can find a picture for this thing. There's
Quality is better.
Wasn't it funny? The quality was better, but
the
it
quality
didn't
was
win
better
just
because
of
it recorded less
porn.
time on the tape. It was better.
basically.
You'd think
And
they
terrible porn
would
collection.
do beta, because you could get the master
Terrible porn selection.
beta system,
The funny part is
Rod Jeremy.
today it's still used in some video production. Digital beta.
Really?
Yeah.
Marble Madness.
Let's see. How do I save that image?
Too lazy to go turn it
I'll
off.
just share this again. That one.
What are we gonna look at? Ooh, what the
You
hell
have
is
one of
this?
those?
Can you
The
see
whole
that
console?
thing right there?
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
So this was the very first Betamax to come out. It had a 19-inch Sony color Trinitron built in, and under this plastic head right here is the Betamax machine. I don't know if there's more pictures down here now.
It
And
was
you hook
one
it up-
unit.
One unit.
That was
Yeah,
the
it was
future
huge.
technology right there.
And then down in here,
75, man.
there are 2 clocks down here, one for the timer and one for the real time, and 2 tuners. So you could watch one thing and record something else. And it recorded 1 hour.
So like the original DVR kind of.
I had one of
That-
these.
That
I bought
thing
one of these.
in today dollars is about $11,000.
Is that what it says?
Yeah, I translated 1975 to now, and
Yeah, it was 2,300, but I managed to buy one for about 1,700.
wow.
And so in my house at that time were walls of beta tapes of sci-fi.
Wow.
Now they're all upstairs in DVD and Blu-ray. So
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
and at some point I just discovered that you can buy 100 gigabyte recordable Blu-ray discs. So I'm going to just push them all onto a couple.
Put them on one disc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take those seasons and just shove them all together.
Crazy.
Well, not everything's been
This
transferred
thing was
digitally
cool
out
when
there.
it first came
That's
out.
true.
Yeah.
So you could only have one timer. It could only record for 1 hour. So these guys made you took the top, I don't know if you remember Betamax, you put the tape in and pushed it down.
Okay.
Remember that, the original ones?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
that's
you could
Junk.
take that mechanism off, and they had a stacker unit that would have tape stacked in it. And when this one was done, it would pop it up and shoot it out the back and drop the next one in. So you could stack 5 tapes and get 5 hours with gaps in the middle, of course.
oh,
Right.
interesting.
Crazy.
Wonder why is it because of the limitations of the tapes are only an hour? No, they weren't just an hour. Why was it only an hour recording machine?
So the VHS was a knocked off technology that used a smaller record space so they could get more stripes. So it records diagonally on the tape. So they changed the way they did it. You could get more stripes on the tape. So they could get 2 hours. And then when Beta got 2 hours, VHS got 4 hours. And when Beta got 4 hours, VHS got 8 hours. They were never going to catch up. But
So
if
the
you
quality
put
for
them
8
side by
hours
side
is
and
horrible,
looked at
though.
them, you looked at them side by side, there was a difference.
Oh, totally.
I have
Yeah, those long play ones are terrible.
Really bad.
If you put things in 8-hour mode, you're sitting there with you guys look at your TV like this. What is that?
It's a tracking nightmare.
Remember, so it was 480 lines.
Kids don't know what that means.
So it was only 480.
Rewind.
Come on, guys. The
Yeah,
Phoebe
please
Cates
rewind.
scene, of course.
Yeah.
Everybody's got.
So it was
relate
only
to that.
480 lines in broadcast. The VCRs could do about 360 plus lines. So it threw shit away. That's why they look so bad. And as you got slower, it threw more stuff away. The noise became louder.
Easy.
Like hyper compressed.
So I still kind of want to. I'm interested. Any other games you did with Sente?
I did Gully Ghost. I did. Now I have to remember. If they're on my, aren't they on my website?
You're on your website, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Trying to find all those.
I know.
Okay, I apologize for my website. I didn't do it.
Name that tune.
There's a
Name that
list.
tune.
I have a
That
list,
was
but I think it's
bear of a
incomplete.
game. Oh my God, was that a bear of a game?
You got Triple Hunt. You got Tunnel Hunt. Space Duel, Skydiver, Pool Shark.
So Gully Ghost was the game
right with the
this was Gully Ghost.
Was that the one that had the physical like toilet that would open up and stuff like that? Like
which one? Gully Ghost?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember that.
It was similar. The title was similar though.
Name that tune plays on MAME.
Oh, okay.
That was Bull Blaster.
And then Strike Avenger, and then Grudge Match. There's a great story on Grudge Match. So I was working on this. It was originally called Race for Pinks. And how many of you know what that means?
Pink slips for your car.
Yeah.
I just know it from Greece.
Is it the ownership?
Racing for pinks.
This is for pinks, punk.
Yeah, is the ownership tag in your state pink? They used to be pink.
All the titles.
So no one knew what that meant.
Titles were white.
Yeah.
So we called it Grudge Match. And I was in the middle of working that. It was a sprint-like top-down game. And we were working that. And they went, hey, Valley's closing. We're closing this down. And we had put it out at the golf land, not too far from us. And we closed and just left it there.
Wow.
It was earning
So there's
money.
a prototype out there from that.
It wasn't anywhere near done. And maybe 10 years ago, 12 years ago, somebody said, Grudge Match, you showed up on MAME. I said, what? Someone found it? Someone got
way.
Found it and dumped it. Made it work.
Mark, that game we're thinking of is Golly Ghosts. I just
Golly
posted
Ghosts.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you look at if you go to Grudge Match, there's one picture there, top down, very sprint-like. What the game was is that's not the best track. You raced in parking lots, you raced in city streets, you raced any place you could do, street racing. And in, like when you're in town and racing, cops would chase you. And if you got tagged, you lost. And the loser of the game had to give something to the winner of the game. You could steal a part of their car.
Oh, there's 3 steering wheels on that, like Super Sprint?
There were 3, yeah.
Huh.
So the middle guy didn't get that was fine. You won. The middle guy just kept going. The loser, you can see there's 3 up there, and you could buy up your car. So if you look down at the bottom, there's a little cent sign with wings on it.
Oh yeah.
These things would float around occasionally, and if you hit them, you could get money to buy better parts. So like this one, you're racing in the country, and bulldozers come through, and
awesome.
And they would slow you down. Water would come out.
So that was that was the last Sente game you worked on. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that probably was the last Sente game.
Wow.
It wasn't completely baked, right?
It was not. It was not. I think Flamati did some of the graphics on that as well.
Wow, amazing. So what caused it to what caused him to close shop? I guess it just bankruptcy or
1987 arcade went in the tubes. Right?
Yeah. Crazy.
I went to work with Rob Phillip for a while after that. Yeah, so if you can find other tracks, that was like a house.
Drive into the house.
You could drive anywhere you wanted, but if you didn't go in the right order, you wouldn't get lap counts, right?
Oh yeah.
There's one of a parking lot. If you can find the parking lot one, that was my favorite one because grocery carts would come flying through.
That's awesome.
You'd be driving, and bang, would hit you in the side and make you spin out. It was very sprint-like, but with a bunch of crap added on top.
Uh-huh.
And
Did you ever get involved with like the home console type games? No.
I did a couple things, but I never got anything published.
Right.
I sort of got burned out on games. I left when I left Bally. I went to work for Rob Phillip, Interactive Productions. We did some stuff there. The infamous game that caused games to have ratings. Night Trap. So that was shot with one
Dana Plato.
So when I joined Rob, there was a long hallway in the offices we had, and the timeline for that game was up on the wall. And you had to go shoot a section, and then you had to get the camera guys to set up to shoot the other section, and you had to edit it perfectly in the right spot. And there is a scene right there. You can notice in fact, nice that scene that caused the rating is right there, and that to the left of the word Night Trap. So the way this game worked is, okay. The backstory: Nolan Bushnell worked with Hasbro, and they created a project called Nemo. never ever mention outside. That's what Nemo stood for. Nemo. I love that. And it was so it could take live video and frame store. So they would do a video stream that, yep, there you go. So they did. So you can notice there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 cameras, right? And you can see where in the house you're looking.
Oh, okay.
Your job was to catch these monsters that show up in this house to terrorize these women. And there's a scene where the woman who's second from the right goes in and starts to undress in the bathroom. And most adolescent males hang on that scene. And the one monster you need to trap is happening at that time. So if you hang on that scene, you lose. But they reviewed it.
Important life lesson.
Yeah.
This is pornography.
Wasn't there was a recent like Netflix show on gaming, right? And they covered that.
There's the shot. Yeah, there was a couple of those that, and you see the
Yeah,
monster.
it got remastered too.
You see the guy in the shower?
Yeah.
So what happened is you had a button.
All right, so he has one hand on the top of the shower. Where's his other hand? What's it doing?
So you had a button that could set off these traps, and it would like a wall that would push them, out the other side, or a trap that would open up and they drop through. And you had to capture all these guys, and to win, you had to capture all of them. Otherwise, people would die. And they said, "No, that's just so graphic." It went all the way to the government to create game ratings because
it was ridiculous.
Oh my God, a woman was standing in her bra.
They tied that together with the Mortal Kombat whole thing. It was just so silly.
Yeah.
Did you see about the whole the rebuilt version of Night Trap that they did with the higher back? They used the back to the real footage to digitize it again. And
was it on Sega? I know Sega System had it on it at one point.
No, they released it for like this for the Nintendo Switch and stuff.
They re-released it again. Okay.
Yeah.
I think it was originally called Scene of the Crime, and I think that we did 4 games. We did that one. We did Martha Quinn, who was a MTV DJ at the time.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
DJ.
we did a thing where you controlled cameras and you decided which camera shots to use and which special effects to add. The system was really cool. The games were real time. You put a tape in your VCR, the VCR went into this box and it played real time. If you press stop, the game ended. So you couldn't go back or pause or anything. You had to play it all the way through.
Okay, so it's the 25th anniversary edition, and there's a PC version. I'm probably on Steam. I put a link in so you can see what it looks like. They revamped the interface, and then they redigitized all the footage because remember the Sega CD can only like 256 colors or whatever. So now you're seeing it like really clear. Isn't that cool?
To be honest, it probably was never shot to be seen real clear.
No, probably not. But at least you could play it that way. I think that's kind of neat. So
by the way, that static is when we wait for the next frame. So what you do is you do frame 1, frame 2, frame 3, frame 4, and then every once in a while you throw in the frames that aren't moving, so you can grab that frame and stick it in a frame store. So that when you see the 8 channels you can watch, you see the last picture that was on that frame. And if you go to that camera, you'll just see a still frame with some sound. Right, because it's the other ones, because if you do more than like once every 4th frame, it gets a little jerky, right? It does not look good. I have lost the IRC.
It seemed like it was just kind of looping a little bit,
Man, there's a whole lot of porn mustaches.
It's all about looking at the right thing at the right time to launch your traps.
Yeah.
It
was a fun project to do.
Did you get to go on set and stuff for filming, or were you just on the programming side?
I came in late and helped with a lot of the editing.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I got locked into the EA building, which is a great story.
You don't leave till it's done.
No. So we were doing some stuff with EA, and they let us use their video suite. And the guy who let me in escorted me in, and I went to the suite, and they all went home because I was like, it was late at night, and I walk out, I can't get out of the room. I get out of the suite, I can't get out of the area.
Wow.
So,
no cell phones, right?
Bob just told me IRC time's out. I have to do something to stay.
You got to poke it every so often, yeah.
I don't even know where the page went to anymore. Let me go back to the link. I did not know that. Thank you, Bob.
Damn it, Gleek.
So So to get out of the building, you had to have a card to get, a card to get in and out because they wanted to know where people were. Well, they left me there, so the only thing I could do was set off the fire alarm, which caused all the doors to unlock. And then I stood out in front and waited for the fire department to show up.
It's like, no, it's not really a problem.
They were not pleased, and I got a card the next day.
Well, they could have found me dead Monday morning.
Yeah, that's like, yeah. They couldn't make calls because I think they went through the front desk or something. I don't know. I have lost it. Give me a second here to go through my 16,000 windows and bring IRC back up. There we go. Oh, but does it remember my name? No.
No. You got to relog in.
What is this? A 1980s technology?
It is IRC.
Were you on IRC back in the day?
Yes.
Okay.
There is a machine over there that's still on IRC because there's a data channel I watch and get stuff on a data channel. I'll make this up. There we go.
Bob was actually doing work and he wasn't on IRC, he said. So I didn't know whether to believe him or not. But I'll take his word for it.
That's very funny. IRC was a time waster. It really was.
Yes, it was.
But
almost cost me a couple of semesters of school.
But there was more stuff on IRC than you could find anywhere. The biggest bootleg environment ever. It was amazing me how much stuff was on IRC.
Oh, we don't talk about illegal things here.
I'm not saying anybody should go do that. I'm saying it was just there because it was a private network. So
yeah, IRC mixed with Usenet.
Yeah.
Yep. DCC, baby. Cheers.
Do you know that Usenet still exists?
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yep. Explicitly for chopped up files that you have to reassemble. And
that was the whole purpose of being there anyway.
They are converted to text.
Yep.
So it's the old email.
You encoded.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the old emails, right? So so when you just look at the file, you can't tell what it is, and you need more than one piece to put them back together.
Yeah, right. And it'll always be like, file 55 of 120.
6,000.
One.
And you got to find that one fucking file.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
that
today,
all that to load up like some crappy picture of Sarah Michelle Gellar.
That's right.
Slowly
Sarah Michelle Gellar. Hey, Night Trap 25th Anniversary Edition is on Steam for $14.99. Nice. So if anybody wants to play that, I've played it. It's actually a pretty fun game. I like it, but I have nostalgia for it. So
all right, Owen. I want to know one of the wildest party stories at Atari that you were involved in. Like, was there a bunch of strippers, or
no.
Alcohol, cocaine?
Yeah,
a lot of people getting loaded, getting high on weed.
Okay.
So in the building, when we were in the one building in Sunnyvale, I started in a temporary building in Los Gatos. It was like, that's how early I was. And then we moved to Sunnyvale, this 1265 building in the first floor. And then that became corporate headquarters. So they moved us across the street into 1272. And it had a balcony over the front entrance. And you could get there from the conference room. So you could people go out on the balcony and smoke weed.
Okay.
And the funniest point of that was that management said, please don't go out on the balcony to do that.
Because everybody coming in the main entrance is
everybody coming in can see it. And you could get locked out, and you could get locked out on that balcony because there was no key on the outside, the door locked. So you went on the outside and there wasn't someone to let you back in, you're stuck on the balcony for a while. So we had a paging system at Atari where you could pick up the phone and dial like a 3-digit number, and you could say something, it would come out everywhere in the building. So when people were going to go up there and imbibe, you would hear SD Modiano to the upstairs conference room. SD Modiano is the name of a rolling paper.
Nice.
So that we had people who wanted to go do that would go upstairs. There was heavier drugs around. I was not into them.
Right.
I didn't need it. I remember hearing a story of one of the VPs doing lines in his office, and a security guard came in, and he was like, "I'm going to write you up." And this VP grabbed him by the kind of put his arm on his back, walked him downstairs, and shoved him out the door and said, "Don't come back."
Oh. Not threaten the VP.
Don't threaten the VP.
Wow. Good old days.
Yeah, right. Oh man.
There was beer busts on Friday afternoon.
I love it's not you're fired. It's you're gonna get written up.
Get out. Get out.
You're a moron.
So, but you know, like
there were parties at Nolan's, but they were they were respectable. I mean, it's, you know, people weren't running around naked. That's
right.
Our wives' tale. There were people naked in the hot tub at times. That was just Nolan. I mean, that was Nolan's style, right? You get in the hot tub, take your clothes off, right? It's because remember the old hot tubs, they would bubble like a cauldron.
Yes.
Right? And it's dark outside, so there really wasn't a reason that it mattered. And there was a hot tub in the building at the building in Milpitas, the hot tub inside.
It doesn't matter till the jets stop and then everything's clear and everyone's looking at each other.
And it's a timer.
All right, somebody got to turn on the bubble.
Timer on the wall. Who gets
the
to
timer? Who's gonna turn it back on?
Check out them bubbles. That's right.
I know from experience.
I'm really surprised they didn't make it a switch. You know that when you turn it.
Hey, you electrocute yourself.
So, what year did you start in Atari? Then
what year?
Yeah, what year did you start?
76.
76, and you left in what year?
84.
84. So was there a time where like in the early 80s, like holy shit, I'm involved in something that like this is great, like because it had to go nuts or no? Like was it like
no
81 or no? Was it always the same kind of?
No, it was. There was really no. I mean, first of all, I had no idea that the stuff we were doing would be talked about 45 years later, right? I mean, it's amazing that some of these things we did are still played today, and there's collectors, and I had no idea that would even come about.
But wasn't there like a year that they're pumping tons of money in? Like holy shit, you like you said, you moved. Like not to you, but no, like they got a new building. Like somebody's making money off of this shit because we just like upgraded like huge. Got a new building. Like holy crap! Look at our, you know, where we are. Like there wasn't like a year like wow, this stuff is making money for somebody, not me. But like everything changed or no? Was it always the same?
We got decent bonuses. New arcades, right? Triple Hunt. That was
a fun spot.
Yeah, that doesn't work. I just played that. It doesn't work at Fun Spot.
Dave was literally there like 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah, it doesn't work. It's
so
it's like to shoot the
gun.
bear. Yeah, to shoot the bear, and I played it. It does not work.
It's not a light gun. Okay, it has 2 potentiometers underneath. So when you have, if it does that, turn it off and turn it back on, and it makes you shoot the upper left corner, the bottom right corner, and the center. That realigns the gun. Then it works again.
That's so funny. I literally, I'm like, this thing doesn't work. What the hell? It's not working.
You're just a terrible shot, Dave.
Yeah.
I had a
you were like 20 Bud Lights in at that point.
No, it's nothing.
It's a cop. I hope it's a good shot.
Nothing was registering. Nothing was registering.
It's because that gets out of alignment. I put a
oh my god, yeah, that's great.
On the screen. So just follow the blotch with the gun. That's all you need to do.
No, I tried. I was like, and I watched someone else, and he left it too because he couldn't. I'm like the bear, just like I'm not. No, it's not moving.
But to be honest with you, no, I had no idea. I'm just gonna put miscellaneous letters in there just to keep it happy. I had no idea this stuff would be like it was, and the consumer department, they did have that issue, right? So our arcade games would go out, and maybe they had a like Asteroids had what 8,400? How many? 84,000? Something like that. Something.
Yeah, 84K.
And so that made millions and millions of dollars, and we had a bonus plan that paid okay, but the consumer games were making a lot of money, and these guys were saying, "Hey, time out." That's why people left. That's what created Activision and all those things. Magic, yeah.
Because the programmers weren't getting any piece of this. Like you guys are making billions or millions or whatever it was, millions, and we're not getting a taste of any of this. Like this isn't fair.
And there was weird competition on bonuses. So I did Skydiver. It did fair in the arcade. They knock it off and they make a arcade game. A home game. It makes bonus. We didn't get a dime.
Yeah.
Right.
It's based totally off.
I was like, come on.
And they basically took your concept and dummied it down even, right?
Well, you're working for them. You're working for Atari, so anything you do.
In their defense, that was a hell of a hard thing to program. So they earned it, right? But it would have been nice to get a token, It's
like, hey. A little taste of it, something, yeah.
The shot sound, and I did steal something back. The shot sound in Tunnel Hunt. Tunnel Hunt. I have to change when I say that. The shot sound in Tunnel Hunt was stolen from Star Raiders.
Oh,
I sat with him when he was
Right.
working on it. I sat with him when we were tweaking it and working on it because I used to spend time on the consumer group.
Which version of Star Raiders?
The first one. So that
Okay, what was that?
yeah.
5200? Which
No,
one
I
was
would
that?
say the 400, 800.
2600 with a keypad, right?
800.
2600
Oh, the original. No, that came later, didn't it?
No, the 800 was I think was the first one.
Well, it wasn't
Oh.
2600. That wasn't the first Star
No,
Raiders, right?
the Atari 800 was the first.
Yes, I was going to
Oh,
say.
okay.
Okay,
I
it
used to
was
have the
the
Atari
800.
400,
And
and
must
I
be
it's the
loved
crashing
same.
up.
that sound, but I didn't ever record how it was done. So I actually put an analyzer on the output of the sound chip and recorded all the values that were coming out, saved them, wrote a thing that would play those values back and got the sound. So it created this sound driver that people used for a while that got updated over time to play back chains of sounds. So that game has the shot sound is the same because it was a good one. Tunnel Hunt, the game that would not die.
Yeah, that's good. All right,
Tunnel
Owen.
Hunt-
So
Was that the
back
same?
in the
8 years, 5 years, 6 years. Do you guys not know the Tunnel Hunt story?
Nope.
So Tunnel Hunt started with Dave Sherman did this beautiful hardware that could draw circles, filled circles on the screen, and you could have multiple of them. So the first thing I did was stack them together and make a tunnel. Hey, that's cool. We can roll them. You could have the tunnel split. Beautiful hardware. He had a weird name. But he called it the condo hardware because on the
Just
board,
as a side note, drawing circles on a computer is actually hard, right? I mean,
yes, and these are filled circles in raster, right?
Okay,
So
yeah,
it was difficult at the time, and so there were stacks of memory chips stacked up on top of each other on the board to get enough memory. And we did this game called Tunnel Hunt. We put it out in test, and it did number 2 for like 10 weeks. Never hit number 1. So they brought it back, and they said, "Well, we got to make the hardware cheaper, and you got to change the game." So I would change the game. He would make the hardware cheaper. We'd put it out. He would do number 2 for 10 weeks. He did that four times, and then he said, "We're not building it." So they first tried to sell it to Exidy, who called it Vertigo, and they put it out in test, and it did number 2, and they gave it back and then did their own version of Vertigo. And then they sold it to Centuri in Florida, who put it out 4 years after it had come out. Okay, so it was an old game by then. So it didn't do really well. People either love it or hate it. You do get really dizzy when you play it. So if you walk away from it, you'll fall down.
Well, if I remember right, you had to put your face into like this hole, so you're really like looking right into the tunnel.
I wanted a cabinet that wrapped around you, and it had
so
speakers
you're
on the
like
side,
looking
stereo
through.
sound. That was all on purpose. It was. It was kind of funny.
There was one question in on YouTube from Bob Whiteman. He said he'd like to hear the game design thinking behind putting a mini breakout game into Major Havoc.
Where are you reading that? That's not
it's on our YouTube feed.
Oh, you're on your YouTube feed. Okay.
I put up if anybody has any questions for Owen. So
and someone asked one of the ones on IRC. I'll do that one if I know about the Shermy Award. I do. The Shermy Award was a toilet seat. Given to the person who got the drunkest at the game show in Chicago each year.
The GAC Award.
Yeah, the original GAC
Award. Dave Sherman, who couldn't stay at the dinner table and was heaving into the toilet all night long. So
awesome.
Put a toilet seat on a wood board with his name underneath and called it the Shermy Award.
Does that sound familiar, GAC?
So I need to meet this guy and bow down to the master, the originator.
It's funny that someone knows that. Okay. Breakout in the this is why Jess Askey is so cool about adding levels. So there was time, I had a little bit of time waiting for it to go out, and I had a small section of code, a ROM that was available, and I said, well, I can build something in 128 bytes or whatever it was, and I built a breakout game because most of the motion routines were there. I just had I said, well, if you're flying between events, you gotta go fight that guy. What would you do? You play video games. So I put a video game in the control panel of the
that's awesome.
Wait a minute, what is he saying? Hang on, Bob is just pinging me on a side channel here. I don't know what that means, Bob. Mayor, okay.
Mayor Patrick is Bob on IRC.
Oh, okay, that's what he's saying. Okay, I get it. All right, now I know why he knows that. That person knows that. Thank you, Bob.
That makes sense now.
I've completely lost my train of thought now. More scotch.
It was
the breakout game is.
So I just put it in there as something to do while you're waiting for the next level, right? You're flying through space and you're flying through space and you had something to do, so you played the breakout game. And if you finished it, you got a bonus life, and it said wow, and that was the end of it. I understand Jess has added to it, so we'll see how that comes out.
Let's say, because it just stays as the wow level after level after you finish it, right?
Just giving one extra life, people went, you can't do that. Well, just see right there.
There you go. The promise then is you're just playing one game of Breakout. That's it.
Yeah,
and not even a real game of Breakout. It does
continues between levels, though.
It does follow the paddle rules. So most people who don't get Breakout, I don't know if you noticed that it, like after about 6 hits, it changes angles and then it changes back again. They did that because if you got stuck where you couldn't hit a brick, they needed to slow down or speed up one of the directions. I think it was.
Yes. Arkanoid does that too, I think.
Yeah, it changes. That's the smarts of Al Alcorn. The paddle you set the direction of the paddle, but it was impossible sometimes to hit the last brick. So he changed the speed at a certain point so that it was easy, so you could have a better chance of hitting it.
Just randomize it a little bit.
Interesting.
He was.
You know that.
Al Alcorn. He's a friend of mine and a mentor for me, and just an amazing guy. And some of the stuff he did, sounds so simple today, but when he was making that stuff up, it was pretty impressive.
Awesome.
Pioneering all of it.
The digital side of it. Okay. The original Pong was very analog, and it no scores. It was kind of weird to play. The concept was there, but they just made it good. I don't Max for his inventions. It just was. I just didn't think it was good enough to be. I really didn't like you rubbing that plastic thing and sticking it on the TV screen. That was the great right?
Jimbo Dini just came back. You missed that thing about the breakout. I was wondering if that does that in Arkanoid. Jimbo Dini's like a wizard at playing Arkanoid. You can play it.
No, I'm not.
You're really good at it. No, he's the best I've ever seen. Anyway, Owen was talking about that. I was wondering if it's the same in that, where if the ball is doing a trajectory where it's repeating, eventually does it change direction or change speed or anything?
It doesn't detect that. It just changes at certain times.
So that way you have a better
chance of a random bounce to break it out of a broken pattern.
Yeah.
So, it feels random to me, like because sometimes you'll be waiting for a while, and sometimes it won't take real long. But eventually, I've never been able to just walk away.
I always felt like in Arkanoid, if you hit the ball towards the edge of your paddle or your character or whatever, then it makes it go off at more obtuse angles or whatever.
Well, the paddle, the further you are to the edge, the more the horizontal direction.
Obtuse the angle.
Yeah. Think of it as a round dome. Actually, it's not really a flat paddle, and that was also a brilliant idea because. I don't know if you've played the Max Bear version, after you hit the ball with your paddle, when you move your paddle, the ball moves with it. So you could do curve balls out there, and that just didn't work, in my opinion. One of the things I wanted to do when Jess was redoing that is put other games in there. So you do the breakout, and then maybe a Galaga shows up, and then a bunch of different games. If I had time, I probably would have done something like that because it would have been fun. So breakout I could do because it was Atari, right? So I'd have to do another Atari game, right?
Yeah.
Rebound. I loved Rebound. Isn't that the one where you bounced it over the net? It was Pong but horizontally.
Oh,
is that called Rebound?
I'm drawing a blank on that one.
It was an all hardware game, very early. Let's see, Rebound. So it was you had 2 paddles. If I'm thinking Rebound, 1974, there is a video. Let me see.
That's the game you play when you break up with someone, right?
Rebound.
It starts out with a bunch of drinking, probably a little bit of crying,
Rebound.
Maybe breaking some stuff around your house.
Get the Sherman Award.
Rebound is
a terrible joke. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Rebound is volleyball.
I liked it.
Volleyball, pong ball.
Is that showing? Oh,
there you go. Oh wow, I've never seen one of those.
Oh.
Are you seeing mine or are you?
Yep, we see it.
Yeah. So
No.
it's Pong but vertically. So
Sorry,
you had
that's mine,
three
but yeah.
hits. You had 3 hits and then you had to get it. And of course, as you see, that's the way most people played it. It was not easy.
Oh.
So you had to get underneath it. And of course, the paddle worked like it always did. Nope, you lose. Right? It really was kind of weird like that. Where's my stop sharing button now?
Sorry, that's probably me.
Oh, you have.
I'm actually sharing it. Yeah.
Andrew's doing it.
No, it's Andrew. It's Andrew.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was Rebound, and I thought I would do that one because it's the same mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't play well on MAME either because moving the paddle is a lot harder with buttons.
Cool.
Oh yeah.
And then I love the attract mode. You can't see it now. They just made one solid paddle across the bottom, so the ball just kept bouncing around. That was an all hardware game. There was no processor in that. That was one of the early Atari games that was just done in like Breakout, done in hardware.
That was my mom's favorite. Breakout was my mom's favorite game on Atari 2600 when I was a kid. I remember that. So that was why part of the reason I was excited to finish Arkanoid because my mom likes that game. She's like, "Oh, this is like Breakout." I'm like,
There are so many variants of Breakout. There really
even my Mega Touch has some clones on there. I mean, I think it's just like a universal,
paddle.
The paddle version of Pac-Man. Everyone gets the concept.
So everybody can figure it out. Yeah.
So those of you who have old
That's
games
approachable.
for arcade, go read the instructions, and most of the old games say avoid missing ball for high score.
Don't die.
Original Space Rule had that on the.
It's the old school version of Get Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Don't
loved
do
it.
bad.
So I stuck it on. I
more.
wanted it on Major Havoc. They
gooder.
took it off at the very end, but I wanted to avoid missing ball for high score, just to be in instructions to see if anybody even read them.
Yeah.
The early Space.
I have a couple of questions I wanted to clarify. Was there Major Havoc Cabaret at some point? I'm a fan of cabarets.
I do not believe so, but I don't see why not.
Okay.
Right. I mean, it could be built. But Major Havoc was built in one cabinet. The cabinet that was Robotron first was actually built for Major Havoc, but we were taking so long to get it done that they gave it to Robotron first.
You're talking about iRobot, right?
iRobot. Sorry,
iRobot, okay.
not Robotron. iRobot. Thank you.
So iRobot cabinet was supposed to be Major Havoc. Okay.
Yeah, so it was originally for Major Havoc, and then he was done first. Dave Torre and I shared a lab, so which was interesting because I learned about a lot of new music in there because he had the biggest speakers I've ever seen in a stereo, and after most people went home, he would just blast music in that lab.
Set it to 11.
Huh? Set to 11.
Set it to 11. Yeah.
In his case, it probably went to 12. Okay. It was loud, and so the obvious question: how loud was it? So we were in the lab once, and I walked over to my office to get something, and there are police standing outside with flashlights looking in the glass.
Whoa.
And I often realized the alarm is going off. And it was so loud, it vibrated the shatter alarms on windows, and it thought the glass had been broken.
Holy
so the alarm went off and the police were called. So we had to go out, meet him at the door, and explain that to them. But it rattled the window.
What music were you playing? What was the song? Do you remember the band?
He was into, oh God, what was, now you're going to make me think of some of that. Let me think on that for a minute. It'll come to me.
Did it knock the clothes off of women?
The other part is we were not in a lab that had windows. We were in an inside lab. It was just close enough to the wall windows to rattle them. Because honest to God, these things must have been 6 feet high.
Damn.
Huge.
Like Marty McFly speaker from
right.
Yes,
neon ridge around it.
Yeah, when you wanted it loud, it was loud.
I had a chemistry teacher in high school that would always say that his hearing was so bad because he went to a lot of AC/DC concerts.
I have a good friend who wears hearing aids because he used to go to a lot of loud rock concerts. When he was
always sit up front.
And he would sit up front. Yeah, it's
got to be close.
His hearing, he lost a big notch in his hearing, and he had hearing aids early because of that. Yeah, I mean,
feel the sweat.
It's real. You know,
No,
people will put headphones on and crank them up to 11. You know, sounds good for a while, but
Ooh, the 11 joke. We know that.
I have ringing in my ears. I'm sure it's from sitting in front of TV monitors. So we used to have all our monitors were just open, and they at 15 kilohertz was their flyback, 15750 or something like that, and that was really loud, but out of most people's range of hearing. But it put a notch in your hearing right there. So I used to be able to hear it, not anymore.
Mm.
And again, I'm becoming an old fart, so I don't hear much of anything anymore. So.
Join the club. Anyway,
enough on that topic.
Yeah, let's not think about that one too much. I had another question.
Go for it.
You've got you said you had a prototype, Major Havoc. Is it anything special, or what does it look like on the inside? I guess.
It looks normal. I mean, it has a cage and a card. It used to have paper graphics on the side, but I lent it to Scott Evans because he wanted to copy the cabinet, and now the graphics are rolled up in a tube alongside of it, and it's missing the speaker grill, which he's promised he would return to me. But it has
of all things to keep.
Damn you.
Well, yeah, those years. I mean, Takeman's made a couple of copies of those, I think.
I don't know where my phone.
So dedicated.
I'm just wondering if I can join on like an iPad. I can show you.
You can join.
I mean,
you got to download Zoom and log in and all that jazz.
I have an iPad Mini. And
yeah, it should work
with a keyboard.
That'll work.
What's fun with this one? This is funny. I love to carry this into restaurants, especially wearing my Apple badge, because people think it's like this new mini Mac computer. It does. I mean, it looks like a mini. No, the keyboard actually. No. This is a keyboard by a company called Bridge, BRYDGE. It lights up. It's a lighting keyboard, and you can use it. In fact, their newer ones, if you have a full size iPad, have a touchpad in them. So it looks like, but this just looks like a little tiny Mac computer.
The new Mac.
Well, because I mean, it folds up like that, right?
Right.
The lines are blurring for sure.
They are, but there are things that I still go to a computer for that it's not comfortable on an iPad yet.
Yeah.
Although I don't use a pencil yet either, and that would probably help a lot. So do I have this in mail? No, I have. The problem is I have to mail myself the link. How much time have we got?
As much time as we need. We're not in a
To
schedule.
go to the bathroom. I have been holding it for a while.
This is a good time.
All right, yeah. Potty break it.
We are not structured.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
There's
no rules.
We're
on a commercial right now.
Potty dance.
Just kidding.
Potty commercial.
Can one of one of you touch the other's shoulder? I know you're in the same room, but I like to see it. There you go. Thanks.
So if you're writing the right commercial for this group, it has to be. Do you need an attorney? Something about prostate. Usually lawyers for insurance, right? I mean, don't you watch the late night sci-fi channels? It's always the same damn commercials everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
those haven't changed in 40 years.
Could I set it and forget it?
Copy it and mail it to myself. It is kind of fun. There's a. I don't know if you're old sci-fi fans. There's a.
Andrew, go. Oh.
Yeah. There is a channel called.
Sorry.
Hang on a sec. I can't do two things at one time. Everybody left for the bathroom. Is that?
Some people did.
While
you're searching, we can
one
go
or two, and we're making jokes about virtual backgrounds.
Yeah. Too bad Jim's not on his soundboard. He can make the fart noises for them, or the Griffin stream.
I'll be in orbit. That's above the final planet for Major Havoc right there. I wish it would look like that.
That would be tricky to draw in vector.
The final planet is the final planet. He made the VAX station, which I think is hysterical.
Oh, I did actually. And actually, as a side story, I did hear something about in an old interview a few years ago. At least you talked about maybe doing like a conversion. I think it was an iOS app you're talking about doing it where it's like it starts in the vector version, but then you morphs into
yes
version.
I've never gotten back to that project. I always wanted to do
awesome.
Because people go, oh god, it's just the vector version. But as you play, it would slowly start filling in. You draw vectors in raster, but make it look like it.
Yeah.
This is where
high enough like resolution displays. Oh yeah.
This is scary. So do these things actually leave the mic on? So I was telling you about Bridge keyboard, and the first ad that pops up is for the Bridge keyboard.
Oh Jesus!
Oh man,
it's not listening to you.
Yeah, no, not at all.
We talked about this a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
Everything's listening.
at all times. And recording.
Andrew, I like your Major Havoc shirt.
Oh, hey, yes.
California Extreme. You have the Major Havoc one, right?
Yeah. Well, actually,
Extreme used it for 1 year too.
Which I bought at California Extreme.
I bought it. I bought it there too, by the way.
And I did make a version of Major Havoc with Grinkers in the logo.
I'm going to get feedback here. How do I mute? I'll mute this one for a second.
There's a button.
Where are the controls?
Here, I'll mute.
We're in space.
Okay, so I'm muted now, right? So on this one, I can switch the camera. Why is it echoing?
Because it's not muted yet.
Did it?
Now.
Unmute this one. Is that better?
There you go.
There you go.
Now I want to switch cameras. Can I switch cameras to the front camera?
Yes.
How do I do that in here though? With the dot, with the little hammer, the little dots, right? No.
There's the circle arrow thing.
So it's the front camera. I'll just turn the lights on and use the front camera. It looks awfully dark though.
So he's in the other one though.
Are you seeing video?
No, we see black.
Switch him. Can somebody like refocus on the Mini 4, which is black right now?
I can.
It's all dark.
Start video.
I can spotlight it, but I can't.
Oh, that's why.
There you go. Now we see you.
Woo, winner.
Going for a trip.
Yeah.
Ground control.
We'll see how good his Wi-Fi is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean,
there's the goods.
The blue roller on that thing is unique.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Ooh, that's pretty.
Does have a blue.
Yeah.
Starts because I had Scott's board.
I think.
So you can barely see it.
I think he's muted on the iPad Mini, but I think we're hearing him in the other room.
Yeah, we're hearing out of his other.
You're very quiet, Owen.
Well, I'll mute.
Mute. Okay.
There you go. Now we can hear you.
It still runs. So,
nice.
but the sides are all black.
Okay.
Right.
Mm.
But that's the control panel is probably the biggest part. That's like it's actually it has graphics. I don't know if you can see up here. They were hand drawn, and I covered it with Scotch tape to keep the graphics together.
Yeah, keep it from degrading.
Yep. And then I have a main machine here, and then on this dark corner is my cocktail.
Yay!
Hello.
Nice.
And then the
Fun house.
my favorite game of all times. It's a fun house.
Yeah.
I'll admit that clown gives me the creeps, but
It does. It's a little creepy. Yeah.
I think that was the intention.
That was totally the intention.
What's that?
The clown giving me the creeps.
There are some people who can't play that. Oh, turn off. Just a minute. Let me turn this one off. It's not letting me back in. There we go. Whoa. Goodbye. Yeah, there are some people who get freaked out by the clown.
My son's 8 years old, absolutely loves Funhouse. We were at Fun Spot in New Hampshire. He was so excited to play it. He thinks it's the greatest thing in the world because it's like animatronic. He loves like anything that.
And it's obnoxious, which is why I like it. I love it.
Yeah, I like how it taunts you.
Haunting. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's still a popular pin and still goes for good money. So
I get offers for it all the time because it's in the pin registry, right? So people go, sell me your. So I bought it, and then I went on eBay and I bought every spare part I could find. So I probably spend more on spare parts than
just in case.
I have an extra head. I have extra ramps. I did a LED conversion of everything that wasn't playfield lights. So the color, all the colors pop. But I kept the incandescence because that power supply flickers and it makes the ball look like it's like stepping.
Strobing. Yeah.
Strobing. Yeah. It's really annoying. It does not work. Certain conversions don't work well, but all the colors under this playfield pop like crazy now.
Yeah.
Wait, what's your t-shirt? The white t-shirt you're wearing? Is that old? I didn't see who had that. I got to go back. How do I get out of big screen mode? I go back.
Upper
Top right.
At top right, switch to gallery view.
Yeah, I got it. Okay. I can't tell what that t-shirt is. Okay.
Who?
You. You who said who?
Marvel
Madness. Marvel Madness.
Louis, I'm Lewis. I don't think you've actually seen my face.
I'm sorry, I've never seen your face. I've talked to you on Slack. I have never actually met you. Hi.
Sure. now you have a face.
I apologize. I feel badly about that.
Nah, don't worry about it.
The show where we put faces with names.
Oh, I guess my major habit is
or screen names.
Hang on, that's going to wake people up.
Yeah.
Oh, whoops.
Recognize that a track sound?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like we're getting him in trouble at home.
Turn off that precocious device. I'm trying to sleep.
Oh yeah, no, I said. Unfortunately, my office is right under the bedroom. So.
Ooh.
Oh, and I have one more consult. Since I don't have a color monitor, I was thinking of doing a black and white version of Space Duel. So I have all the pieces here, and I have to do the wiring and all that stuff. Is there any reason that would be a bad idea? I mean, for gameplay.
I don't know what happens to the bits. Do they become grays? Do they become brightnesses?
Yeah, you would fold them down.
So because you have to be able to see the red green, which of course now today I know that's like the wrong colors for people who are colorblind. So that should have been red, blue. Yes, I worked on the other iPhone apps, and one of the guys that's a good friend of mine is colorblind, and he would look and go, I can't tell which line is red and which line is green because they would look like the same color name. So, but I'm not sure how they would look. I mean, would one be too dim and the other one too bright? Would you be able to tell the colors? I mean, it would play. Should try it. Yeah. See what happens. Okay. I'm curious. I'm curious now.
Yeah, I'll let you know how it goes.
I mean, what do you do with the bits? I guess you turn the color bits into brightness bits. I guess.
Just brightness, yeah.
So anything that's in white is going to like just bloom on the screen.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm guessing is going to happen. I was going to try it out anyway.
Yeah.
You can't find the color monitors anymore without spending $600, $700. So.
Yeah, call.
Working with.
No, I should. Oh, I forgot to show this one. I got a bit problem. So when someone captured that's Cannonball. The guy flying there. So whoever captured this into MAME had a bad prom.
Oh,
whoops!
And that's what they captured into so the vector prom is wrong. Somewhere I probably have my notebook that has the original graphics for that drawn in graph paper.
That's a trip. Somebody should file a bug on that one.
And then I happen to really like Space Duel. So you asked how many different space? They're all here.
Mark was asking, yeah.
There's the diamond ones, there's the square ones, there's the book ones, there's the little nuclear symbols, there's the stars, and there's the spinners. They're all in that picture.
That happened with the 1UP systems. They ripped a bad ROM for what was it? What's that game where the hero needs food badly? What game is
Gauntlet.
that? Gauntlet. Yeah, Gauntlet. They ripped a bad Gauntlet ROM and they sold their 1UP cabinets with a bad ROM, and you could only get up to like level 17 or something, and then the thing crashes.
Oops.
Oopsie.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you expect for $100?
Yeah. What do you want?
Yeah, I was really disappointed when I first saw him come up with like all these stripes. And it definitely. Whoa! I remember that picture.
Yeah,
that was California Extreme.
Yeah, that's me there next to you.
What year was that?
That was 2016, I think. So 4 years ago.
You're right.
Jack was 16 in that picture.
I that was right before I started wearing glasses, pretty much about a year before me.
Yeah, I was looking at you going, "Are you in that picture?" I wasn't quite sure. I knew you were on this in this group at some point.
Right.
That's nice. Good reenactment.
There we go. Now I got it. Oh, thank you. That was a fun show.
Yes.
I'm hoping we have a real one this coming year.
Yes, I hope so too. Yeah, for sure.
We're telling us we may not be back at work till April. So that's cutting it a little close.
Yeah.
And Owen, do you have any other?
Didn't quite do it, but we want to announce. Just wants to finish it and be done with it and announce it, and give it to someone who's got a major havoc and have it accidentally get on the web. I can't stop it once someone takes it, right? There's nothing I can do about that.
Yeah.
I will not do that.
Yeah, plausible deniability. Well,
I won't do that. It's like I have to be very careful with that because I actually talked to there's a weird copyright law for artists which they can classify us as, where you can, after 35 years, you can appeal. You can do there's a form you can do and in the courts to get ownership back. So I did talk to an attorney about getting ownership of Major Havoc back, and the first question he asked is, "How many people worked on it?" Oh, yeah, a lot. He says, well, everybody has to agree.
Oh, wow. So you got a list of like 20 people to sort out.
And what if you don't get them all?
Yeah. Sunk.
Yeah, then you fail for the wrong reason. Wait, I'm supposed to be using this.
And if they're not around anymore, you're stuck as well, right?
Yeah. I think those would that would just come back. So see, if you have your shirt, you need that mug too. Nope. It's virtual backgrounds.
Yes. Nice.
But I have to show you
Very
my favorite thing. This was kind of a jazz for me.
Oh my God! I remember
they did a
those.
Major Havoc Slurpee cup.
No, Space Duel.
Space
They had
Duel,
like
okay.
six different ones or 12 different ones.
I had no idea. I went into 7-Eleven when this came out. And, I'll buy a Slurpee because I want that. I didn't know there was other ones. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
They had ones on, like, of course, Pac-Man and Zaxxon. Wow.
Yeah, but Space Duel. I mean, I was
Space Duel.
Zaxxon.
But wait a second. Space Duel. What's the band? They had it on their cover art, right? Of their.
Yes.
It's hard. The Who.
The Who. That's right.
The Who.
There we go.
It's hard.
And
how cool is that?
So when we were part of Warner, they used to bring people through. Michael Jackson came through once, and when we were doing Firefox, Clint Eastwood was there. Steven Spielberg came through once. That was actually kind of fun. He played Major Havoc, and he's actually a game player. So we had like 6 levels done. He went through all 6 and goes, "There's no more." They were there and they played Space Duel, and they went, "It's too hard." And I had no idea it was showing up on the cover of a game. It's on both sides, right? The kid standing with his hands on the control panel.
Yeah.
And they replaced the screen, but that's a Space Duel. That was kind of cool too. Yeah.
For sure.
But the Slurpee Cup to me was just like, really? I made it to 7-Eleven.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool.
It is awesome, man.
Yeah. So right now, I don't know if it shows up on there. I probably have to get darker in here. I ordered some LED, and instead of getting 10, I don't know if that matters. 10. Instead of getting 10,
fucking 10.
Oh yeah, 10. They sent. Is the bag still here? I don't know where I put it. They sent 1,000.
Oh shit!
And not the ones I ordered.
Oh.
Order magnitude's off.
These LEDs that come out, I can probably hold it up. I haven't plugged in a power supply. I don't know if it shows. Can you see the LEDs in there?
Yeah. I'm seeing a light.
They're flickering. They're these LEDs that flicker like a candle.
Oh.
So if you hook a bunch of them together and drop them in something opaque, it looks like there's a candle in it. So that the cup is kind of doing that. Right?
Okay, now that you pointed it out.
Wait.
We can see it.
Can you actually tell?
Oh, that's cool.
There you go. This is a spooky Space Duel cup.
Spooky Space Duel cup.
Hey, am I not the only one who's noticing the red stapler? Just the red stapler.
Noticing what?
You got the swing line stapler. Yep.
The red.
It is red.
Not my red stapler. No.
It is red. Just to
from Office Space. Right?
Just so you know, I don't use a stapler very often, but the red stapler stays on the.
Yes.
That's my stapler. Thank you for noticing. I'm impressed. Most people do not get that reference. It's so I saw that at a garage sale, 50 cents, and I bought it immediately. I said, "Oh my God!"
Oh wow.
What about my piece of cake?
Yes. You're just handing them off to everybody else. That movie's so great.
Now, about 12 years ago, actually, for a Christmas thing, we had sort of like one of those dumb, like Santa exchange, dirty exchange things. Yeah.
Inappropriate gifts exchange.
Yeah, well, so I wrapped up, and it was supposed to be like an under $25, and that red swing line new is quite expensive.
Is it?
So yeah, it is actually. So I wrapped that up. I think it was like 20 to 25, and I included something other gift certificates. $20 for a fucking stapler, right?
Jeez.
Stupid money. So I wrap it up, and the dude who opens up and goes, "Sweet, I got a fucking stapler." It's like,
You didn't understand.
No clue.
totally missed the joke.
You're right.
Total waste. That's like, dude,
Amazon.
that's a very nice stapler.
You know
I'll
what's
take
funny?
that back.
So oh god, this is funny. I have to share this. We're sharing again. I wanted to see, is it really that's what it cost?
Yeah.
So my favorite thought, this whole thing though, if I did that, is go away, is this thing right here, the official red stapler shirt.
Oh my god!
It's almost cost
shirt
30
out of
bucks.
anything.
It's $30. Yeah,
You have my red stapler.
But the stapler right there, $24.99.
Yeah.
But if you go to this Office Supply, you can get it for $12.22.
Clearly a Chinese knockoff.
It's a knockoff. You can see.
Wow.
That's funny. No, that was just like, I have to have that. It's like for people who will actually understand why. Yeah, that's funny.
So I know, Owen, you had the thing about the California Extreme using your graphics.
Oh yes.
Oh, I was pleased. I was very pleased.
For one of our tournaments that we used to do at Grinker's Grand Palace, as you can see here, so I created a vector version of a bunch of different vector games because we were doing like vector stuff. But yeah, so top left corner, I repurposed the Major Havoc graphics to.
Yeah, the font was fun to work on for that. The red line was added at the very end just to make it look different.
Yeah.
There's a lot of if you remember old Battlestar Galactica, they used everything on the bridge of the ship was made by Tektronix. That was all Tektronix test equipment. And in those days, Tektronix had a storage scope that drew a bright line and then it left the line there. So it would draw another line bright and it leave the line. And then they would flash the whole screen to erase it. If you watch the graphics drawing of both the name and the little screen up in the upper right-hand corner when the tactile display is up, it draws like a Tektronix vector scope.
Wow.
That's why you see that. That's why you see the lines flying as it's drawing in the when it draws Major Havoc, and so it's drawing that up there. That was a knockoff of Tektronix. I like the idea of throwing old technology in, and only a few people would get it.
That's great. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have caught that. It's like the trail behind it kind of thing.
Yeah. So the line when it would draw to the next spot was visible for a short period of time.
Yeah. So
depending on how bright they drew it would depend on whether it stayed. So you could draw it on or off, and then so you would see that beam fly around. And that's if you look at the track mode of Major Havoc, that's exactly what it's doing. Let's get a video. It was a fun project. It kept growing and growing, and it was actually a lot of fun to work with Mark Cerny on it. He had just done his first game there, and he joined the game, and it was then he did those last 4 waves that I still can't get through all the time.
Mark started at Atari pretty young, right? I think he was
like 17 or something.
17 or so. When did you? How old were you? If you want to share that.
I was probably in my mid 20s, 23, 24. Because I came out of college. I basically heard that they were interviewing on UC Berkeley campus, and I just ran down there and signed up immediately because that's what I wanted to do. And they interviewed me and they turned me down, because they were interviewing me for a hardware job and I thought I was interviewing for a software job. So I wasn't quite answering the questions the way so I called them. I said, well, what did I do wrong? And they said, well, you don't sound like a very strong hardware engineer. I wasn't interviewing for a hardware engineer. What were you interviewing for? Software engineer. So there's some rumble. Come on down and do another quick interview. And they hired me on the spot. So,
nice.
Oh, wow.
But it was kind of,
you not giving up. Anybody else would have walked away?
That was the dream job. It was that or build giant Amdahl computers, right? I really didn't want to do that. Let me go see if I can bring this back.
Who?
I want to see if it draws the drawing I was talking about. So, boo!
Hey.
It's not the video I wanted.
I'm
It's
converting.
running hyperspin. Leave it alone.
Am I touching something wrong here?
Is that your cabin there, Mock?
No.
Not enough buttons.
I didn't do that. I didn't do that theme in hyperspin.
So watch the upper right hand. See the drawing up here in the upper right hand corner.
Oh yeah.
The little ship. So that was emulating that drawing mode. Even the big one, even the big thing should emulate.
Where like shows the trails of the lines, kind of thing.
Yeah. So you'll see it as it draws it out. Yeah. You see the white line.
That's totally.
That's if you watch Battlestar Galactica as it draws, like when they show them in the Viper and it's drawing the stuff on the screen. That is a tectonic storage scope being drawn, and you'll see those lines fly around.
Yeah, it's when they turned on their targeting computer.
Yeah,
in their cockpit.
It did all that drawing like that.
Go and draw it out. Yeah,
Tectronic storage scopes.
Yeah,
Tektronix gave them a ton of equipment to stick on the to become a bridge, and I said it was the best Tektronix lab I've ever seen.
Yeah, I saw a show on that, and they were saying that almost everything on the bridge of the old school Battlestar Galactica is if you pushed a button, a light would come on. They purposely made it that way, so it looked like things are happening when you push a button. It wasn't like Star Trek where they're just pushing whatever and nothing.
Well, it's okay. So Star Trek, there's a lot of buttons, but none of them have labels.
No.
It's not in Star Wars too. The one in Falcon is in that cap. There's all these lights and buttons flashing.
Yeah.
But not a single label on anything. It's like, like that red light flashes.
Does.
And Mark.
They're all like the same color, pretty much. So it's like
they
no, the
out.
third button from the left, not the fourth. Right.
I give Next Generation credit for actually making them look like controls, even though the labels are meaningless, right? At least they had labels on it, right? But sci-fi movies, they still do it now. You have to have lots of blinking, flashy lights.
So I don't know why Chris Dorr isn't in the IRC, but he's on YouTube and he's made a few comments. But he wanted to throw a Halloween question out to you, and it's just Boris Karloff or Bela Lugosi. That's his question.
That's a strange question, but Boris Karloff.
Boris Karloff?
Yeah.
Okay, there's your answer, Chris.
Wasn't it an Airplane 2 where William Shatner goes, "These lights aren't blinking as much as these"?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or something like these lights aren't blinking as much as these lights are blinking.
I like the one where it looked like he was talking to him on a monitor, and then he opened the door, and it was just a screen.
And it's right there. Yeah.
He's standing right on the other side of the door. That cracked me up too.
That was the sounds for Yara's Revenge was the kid doing the ship, which I just heard from
it was what sound?
Yara's Revenge was the sound from Airplane 2. That was the noise? Who's the guy who did Yara's Revenge? My brain's 9 Bud Lights in
front of me now.
Who did Scott Howard? Scott Howard, is that his name?
Yeah.
Howard Warshaw.
I can picture him at Warshaw.
Oh, yes. Because he just said that, and I always knew what the sound was, but I didn't put 2 and 2 together. I'm like, God, that's so familiar. And he says they used my Yara's Revenge sound in that scene when they're.
I have the firing sound that I copied into Tunnel Hunt. The Tron guys came up and they said, "We want you guys to help do sounds." So they came around with microphones recording all these sounds. And unfortunately, I was really busy, so. Because I was assigned to take them around, get sounds for them. We had a sound system we could make sounds on. And then I couldn't go down to LA, and Ed Rotberg went down to LA with him to finish it up, and he got his name in the credits.
On that.
But they took, none of the sounds they took are recognizable because they played them backwards or they put some fuzz on them. Or only once do I hear one sound, and when the guard is walking above the jail cells and he takes his staff and he goes, that is the shot sound from Tube Chase.
From which game?
From Tube Chase. That's the shot sound.
Huh.
It's just stretched out a little bit, but it's almost identical to the shot sound.
Well, there you go, Mock. Add that to your useless knowledge.
Yeah, I love it.
What was the movie? I missed the first
Right.
part. What movie was this in?
Tron.
Tron.
Oh, Tron.
The original
movie
Tron.
Tron.
Oh, the original.
Yeah.
He gets thrown in the cell, and the guard's walking above it, and he's making noise, and the guard smacks this thing down. other sounds were played backwards, and I can recognize a few of them. But that was kind of cool too, to be able to get sounds in a game movie.
So I wonder if there was a lot of
Dragon's
that.
Lair in the back over there. I'm waiting for my mini arcade Dragon's Lair to show up.
Oh,
yeah,
me
too. Yes.
We just got an update. We just got an update today about
today.
those.
Yeah,
did.
And so, are you hoping for a Don Bluth signed one?
I don't. What are you gonna do with that? I don't want to play.
Apparently, they have two of them. They said
they have
put
two
them randomly
to give away. Whoever was a backer is up for the option.
Wow. Cool. Wait, so how many people in here are getting one?
Yeah.
Half.
So we have shit. But what am I supposed to do with that?
I missed Centipede, which pisses me off.
Oh.
And I went and looked for them on eBay. They're like $600.
What?
What? I got one over here. You want it?
Yeah, I'll trade you for your Major Havoc.
I want the middle one. So we are
that's what I'm talking about.
We are looking for a new house, and it's going to be
Minor Havoc.
And arcade games.
Yeah, that one.
Sorry,
so the arcade game's got to get smaller, right?
Did you? Okay, trivia time. Did you know that they
were lazy to go over and reach for the box?
What's that on?
They were sized based on a Barbie and Ken doll.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
really?
Let me put that in my useless knowledge.
If you put a Barbie or a Ken in front of it, it looks like the right size. They did a nice
job.
job.
I know a lot of the action figures, like the standard size. I want to say is like 3 3/4 inch. I don't know why.
Well, that's like GI Joe.
Yes.
Star Wars.
GI Joe.
Yeah, old GI Joe. Well, not too old though.
What is this? 1/12
older?
Right? Aren't the arcades these?
1/6, I think.
1/6.
1/6. Okay.
12 inches tall. Yeah.
Yeah. So 6 foot. Yeah.
I do play the Tempest one a lot, actually, and I like that they gave you another knob that's a little bigger. So
more playable.
Going like
that
this
one.
is really a pain in the butt.
Yeah, that's one thing that needs to not be to scale. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you
so
switch it, which is great.
They gave you the right one, and then they gave you one to play with, which I thought.
Yeah. And
so
baby
we
coins.
need a Major Havoc conversion for that Tempest.
There we go.
I talked to the guy about doing Major Havoc. So.
That'd be cool.
He says the licensing is difficult, but they're interested.
The only thing I don't like about the Tempest, New Wave Toys miniature is I don't like the little screen they have in that because
they don't put a vector monitor in it.
Well, no, not it's not that. I know it's not a vector monitor. What I mean though is that it doesn't have true blacks for that one. So it's like a gray screen.
Yeah.
And,
it's an LCD.
And the other screens are higher quality, you can tell. Like I have the Street Fighter and that screen looks amazing.
I didn't get that one either.
So
the Centipede looks darker too.
The Centipede even looks better. Yeah. So I wish they used a darker screen.
It may be the emulator that they used. It doesn't.
I don't know. I think it's the screen because the blacks are coming out really gray.
Can you adjust it?
Well, yeah, but
you can't adjust it. There's no adjustment for that in the game, unfortunately.
No, I think
this is their first one.
To that with the emulation because it's Vector versus Raster, Centipede versus Tempest, right?
Just do like they did with the games that had bad screen blur back in the day. Just put a tinted plexi over the top.
Yeah,
there you go.
Hey, that might work. Actually,
that might work.
Yeah,
that's not a bad idea.
Yeah,
because there's no real.
I'm just wondering if you carefully opened it, the LCD monitor has to have a brightness control.
One thing I do like though is the speaker is nice in it. It's really loud.
Yeah, they did. These guys did a nice job.
Oh, they're great.
Theoretically, because it doesn't have a bezel, you could put like just a thin layer of film. Just film over it.
Dark. Yeah, that's what it needs. It needs a.
What was Atari used? The G12 glass, or I forget what it was called. It was some gray number 12 or something. Was there the tinted glass?
That's a good one. I don't know.
It's tinted glass. Yeah.
Someone in IRC said one of you guys should do an unboxing with some gameplay when your Dragon's Lair arrives.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That is a
well,
good
Mock should do that because he's the one who can play it the best.
I'm the Dragon's Lair expert.
And you better get on it quick because there's gonna be like 30 people doing that on YouTube.
Yeah, I know, right?
The trick in Dragon's Lair was to get good enough at it you could play it with the monitor off.
Oh,
there are sound cues for every single thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not that good. I can play some of the levels blindfolded, but not all of them.
The problem is you don't know if it's the left facing or the right.
Yeah, that's really hard. How do you know?
Yeah.
Well, I guess we're gonna do the live unboxing whoever gets it first.
Right.
I mean, we all get them at the same time.
What did they say? I didn't look at I saw that it was in my email, but I didn't look at it today. When did they say? Did they give it
end of the month?
So let's see. I think I actually have it.
Maybe for Christmas.
Yeah, I do have it.
I know if you bought the boombox.
Yeah, that's right.
Did you buy the boombox?
Independent
I got the
Silver.
boombox too.
You did. Okay, you're gonna buy it all. You're gonna have them all. I do have the change machine.
Oh, I didn't get the change machine because
You know
I
what's
thought
cool
that was
about
just
it?
stupid.
You know, no, but what it is, you plug it in and it has a bunch of ports in it to plug all the games in.
Yeah, I like that. It's cool. It's like a little USB port or
And it,
USB
has,
hub.
and it looks like the little change machine, but it's a USB hub for power. Right?
I thought it was really cool, but I thought the price was just a little bit too steep.
It was too high, but I bought it anyway.
Oh yeah, so these,
oh wow, look at that.
There you go.
These are the Don Bluth signed ones.
I have the Dragon's Lair DVD signed by Don Bluth because I got to meet him once.
Wow.
That was kind of cool.
He was a cool guy. I actually met him.
So they're saying
post-pandemic.
Supposed to be here. Supposed to be in Long Beach by the end of the week. So another 2 weeks after that. So probably.
I know they had a real problem with building them. So
yeah.
That's the COVID hit and.
I really get to keep pushing. I
look at David Buffalo. He's got the Dragon's Lair poster.
I called the guy and said, "How do I convince you to do a Major Havoc?" Oh, that's beautiful. Is that an original poster?
It's actually signed by my brother got it for me, and it's signed by Bluth and I forget the other guys.
Where did you get that from?
I have no idea.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I just gotta find a place to hang it.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, I love Dragon's Lair. It's funny because I mentioned this before. I bought one. It's in Canada, and I gave the guy a deposit, but because of COVID, I can't go get my Dragon's Lair.
Oh, you can't go get it.
No,
your machine. Yeah.
That's why I bought the extra Laserdisc player and just bought very cheap. And I'm like, you know what? I'll just buy another one because I don't even have I don't know if the game's working, and I have it at a repair shop, and I don't have the game in my possession. So I have a Dragon's Lair in Canada. I have a Dragon's Lair extra disc behind me, and I have an extra scoreboard, and I don't even own the game. Or I mean, I own the game, but I don't have possession of it.
You don't have possession.
Yeah.
My wife is Canadian, and she can't go there.
No, yeah, and I'm like, I'm going to get the Replicade one before. Which one am I get first, the Replicade or the real machine that I bought in?
But you'll get
February.
You'll get that little tiny laser player too.
That's true. I love that laser player.
I love the little, and there's a little laser disc too, a little silver one.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the stretch goal where you could do the
quarter.
HDMI out, right, to put it on a big screen.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
They hit all their stretch goals, I think, on that
The
one.
one laser game I liked that was not very popular, and I'm going to forget the name of it. Cube Quest.
Oh yeah, I have that on my main machine.
That was Able Graphics, the guys who did all the Levi's ads. Is that a main machine behind you?
Yeah, this is a virtual thing of my arcade room.
I bought a
I think Cube Quest plays on this eventually.
Cool.
Is that what's playing right now?
Well, that is Cube Quest, isn't it?
Yeah, I have a Cube Quest because I have it.
I had no idea that. That's just very, very spooky timing.
Yes,
that is weird timing.
So the guys who did the graphics and the voiceover, the guys who used to do the Levi Strauss commercials.
Oh yeah, the special effects team. That one guy. Oh, what's his name? I have a guy I know that. Hold on.
This was Noah Anglin was the CEO of that company, and I saw it very early, and I thought, well, it's a simple game. It's Tempest knockoff, but with the graphics behind it. And that's, if you want to see that trick I was talking about, how they make the tunnel run forever. They do every other frame till they get to the end of the thing, and then they do every other frame going backwards. So the backwards ones are recorded backwards. So the tunnel just keeps going in
for forever.
They just go forward and backwards. Yeah, and that's one of the best.
Oh, okay.
That one, and I like the hallway with the candles on the doorway. That's just a very small loop on the laser disc going round and round and round. But it's every other frame forward and every frame backwards. And then when you finish, it just plays out the frames. That's when it jumps forward. The disc was actually the cool part. The game wasn't that good.
Yeah, I heard the game wasn't finished. They ran out of money working on it, so they just put it out. It wasn't all the way finished. And
Mark, your favorite game though, that's Loverboy, isn't it?
Yeah. Hey now.
Owen may not be familiar with that game.
The raping game.
Okay, there's
that's either the sandwich is huge or those games are small.
Yeah,
that's the replicate. That's the replicates in the back, right?
Yes.
Oh, that's funny.
That is the Replicades in the back, isn't it?
It looks like a mini red tent on the right.
It is actually. That's one of the for the Nintendo Switch. So that's 8-Ball Paul and Jake V.
Oh, okay. He shared that in our IRC.
Oh, so those are real games. That's not the.
No, those are all Replicades.
Oh, they are Replicades.
That's his Replicade collection.
What's the second one to the right? Is that Street Fighter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't get that
one. Fighter Centipede.
I was never a Street Fighter fan. I'm sorry to say. Yeah, I felt when I played Street Fighter, if I just hit the buttons and move the thing around randomly, I could keep.
I want that change machine just because of that yellow light. Doesn't that mean it's out of quarters?
Yes, and it's an option and switch in the back.
Oh my god, that just made me want that just because that light was on.
Yeah, it really
that is awesome. I remember that light being on. You're like, are you fucking kidding me? I can't get quarters.
I'm out of tokens, damn it.
Oh, or tokens or whatever.
You have to go yell at the guy going, hey.
Oh man, I gotta get that shit now. Is there one on eBay?
Man, the original change machine back in the day was some dude walking around with the metal thing on his hip. That just,
Yeah, the Paperboy. Yeah,
so you guys
I had
are
one
probably
of
not
those.
old enough to know those started on buses. You would take your bus fare, they would give you change out of those things.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that makes sense. I remember the Paperboys having them, but yeah, the bus, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, bus.
Oh, so all these. So go get some to eat, guys. If they looked at the sandwich and now they're all hungry.
Right. Yeah.
Warrior is hungry.
Yeah.
Feed me. I have to type occasionally so that it doesn't throw me out again.
Keep it awake.
So it asked for another name. It asked for the real name. What is it? Where does it hide the real name, or is that just for you guys?
This is old IRC. Your Nick, and then your if you like look up somebody on IRC, you can see their real name, whatever whatever you set it to. Yeah.
Oh, let's see. User information. Oh, look at that. This is a different, now how do I go back? I'll just cheat. I've never used the one on the web. I actually have MIRC running on an old Windows machine.
Oh, you could probably connect to this IRC if you actually run.
What's the network?
The right server.
I see this channel, but I don't.
It's its own. It's like its own network.
Oh, okay.
The network is.
Is it in the link? I didn't know.
It's irc.thegleek.com.
Okay. Oh, I see. All right. Thegleek.com.
And the channel is Hash Arcade.
Is it the only channel on there, or are there other channels?
I don't know.
I think it's the only one.
Okay.
The only one.
He used to have one for his Minecraft server, but I think he got rid of that when he got rid of the Minecraft.
You used to be able to type /channel and it would tell you.
Yeah, it would list them all. Yeah.
Owen, are you still on the IRC channel?
I could have sworn Gleeks had the Bear Party channel. No?
The Bear Party.
It doesn't do / or exclamation point commands. Huh. Can I opt myself?
Are you not on the IRC anymore?
He's got that locked down.
I'm always amazed at how many of those channels never did that. You could opt yourself on them and then take over the channels.
Wow. Okay, so you're talking about the creator that does the Levi's ads. So there's a compilation of them, and it's called The World of Robert Abel. And
Robert Abel with Abel Graphics. That's right.
Robert Abel. So check out the IRC link I put in, so you can just watch that later. But it's a string of all his work on YouTube.
He was well known in the graphics field.
The special effects, you'll see it if you guys. You remember like the crazy 7-Up ads are really trippy, and he did all the cool glows and special effects. And
so Noah Anglin, who left Atari, went to start Simitrack, and he went and got Able Graphics to do his graphics work.
Yeah, it's a really neat. It's an hour long almost of just his ads, but they're so visually stunning. Remember those trippy Levi ads and all those weird 7-Up ads?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a while ago, and they're still kind of cool, you know.
Oh no, they're really neat. Yeah, I think that's.
When you studied graphics, you studied some of his stuff in the early days.
That's amazing. He was way ahead of his time with what he was doing, I think, because it wasn't digital. It was the very beginning of digital graphics, and he was doing double exposures and all sorts of crazy stuff to get his effects going.
What's that one?
I just bought that change machine. What do you think I paid? That spot. I just bought it.
It's on sale now, right?
How many Bud Lights are you in?
I'm a lot, so I don't know that I
$40.
overpaid.
A lot.
Oh no!
How much was it?
I paid 77.
Canadian or US?
US shipped.
Oh.
It's actually built really well. I just want the front panel to open though. I really want.
Maybe I should have not gone just to eBay, but it's already paid for. But I was just, but it seemed like that's probably what I should have paid. Tempests were like, I looked for a ticket because I don't have a Tempest seat. I have a Centipede and then getting the Dragon.
Right, some people buy Devo hats, other people buy change machines. I bought a converted Qbert. That was my drunken hangout night.
Sloth mask, I think, was one.
Oh yeah, I got
that's right.
I bought multiple sloth masks.
Centipede mini game.
Oh, you guys want to see what I'm going as Halloween? Because I probably won't see it.
Oh no!
You guys are gonna love this.
Are you going out to trick or treat?
No, I'm going to. Well, I have my son lives for Halloween, but
don't we all? I love Halloween.
Right? Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to show you what I'm laughing. Everybody see
okay, so
Hangover
I'm
here.
working up here. Centipede replicates $6.99.
Yeah, it's off the chart.
Yeah, that's insane.
There's one for $3.49.
$7. Nice.
$5.99.
That should be $69.99.
Buy like a real one for that.
People, yeah, I'm saying I could buy
for sure.
One. You buy the cabaret for that, right? It just bugged me that someone wants that much for it. There's not very many up there. This guy said $314. That must be bids. No, it's a buy it now. $314.
This is
That's what the centipedes are going for.
That's ridiculous.
No, one up there is going for that. I love it.
That's awesome.
That's wonderful.
Nice.
Isn't that good?
Great.
Yeah, that's gonna be me. I have a gut going big time, so I can fill it out.
You've been working on that part of the outfit for years.
Yeah, that's the purpose of the Bud Lights. It's for the
Wait, how old
costume.
is your? Yeah, that's right. To get the costume to work, right?
Yeah. Well, my son's 8, but he lives with that costume. Really has nothing to do with him, but he lives for Halloween. My wife, we're going to some Halloween party, and she bought that. And she's going to be Flo from Progressive. And I'm like, gosh, she annoys me. I'm like, I want them to change that. She's be going like, I can't believe it's still going on.
See photos of this.
Yes, we need photo.
Oh, the Flo? It's on Amazon. It's just
when you go to the party, takes pictures and share them.
Oh, with that, yeah. Yeah, I think that was pretty good. And I was gonna do the sloth, but the only thing with the sloth is then you gotta wear the mask, the whole time.
These are COVID days.
Yes. Yeah, that might be a good idea.
Remember the COVID days? Go at night. Yeah,
I got tested for COVID today. I got tested last week.
I'm sorry, that's the punchline to a very old joke, which is sad. Guy said they're flying to this. They're going to be the first manned mission to the sun. And the guy goes, "Well, it's really hot." He goes, "It's okay. We'll go at night." That's where that punchline from. I'm sorry.
That's a really good joke.
That's almost dad level there.
So there's one for $245.50, but it's taking bids.
Wait, can I get that change machine? IRC is anywhere cheaper than 77. It said last one. That seemed like a reasonable price. I don't know.
Were they
You have to go back there and still see if it says last one.
Yeah,
I know.
You remaining.
Really, really last one.
Okay.
That's a replicate in the box. The current bid is $240-$250 for Centipede.
Yeah, I don't know. They went through the roof on those.
With the keychain, the lighted keychain.
Well, then.
Just still in the box for me.
Wait, is he including the change machine? Replicate and the change machine. Oh, that includes the change machine. Replicate box and the change machine and the keypad, $240-$250.
Yeah, it's a bargain at half the price.
About half the price would be about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Amazon, I paid the same. I paid way more. I paid another $20. Amazon's $59.99 for this with Prime. I could. Why?
They probably don't have it.
Dave didn't even spend the extra 2
You gotta
minutes
shop,
to
man.
check around.
I
He's like the
just-
first
We don't
thing
do
found
that.
with the Google search.
I just did eBay and I didn't even look at Amazon. In stock, I wasted another $15, but at least I gotta return it if it's a piece of shit.
LazySearch.com redirects you to eBay.
Yes.
Oh god.
I want to know what this
Did
means.
you use some keywords like rare and collectible?
Can I cancel an eBay? Are you allowed to do that?
Probably. You contact the seller.
Oh fuck it! I'm such a
That's a pain in the ass.
It's worth $15 not to deal with the hassle.
Yeah.
No, but I could have had this in 2 days too.
I'm trying to understand
From
what
Amazon.
on
What
Amazon.
a dick I am. God damn it.
You're not a dick.
Amazon,
just a
it
dumbass.
says replicate
What a
machine, not machine specific.
Fucking
What is that?
weenie.
Oh, you'll live through it.
Christ.
It's one less beer bust this week.
Gino, I just noticed your adventure shirt, man. Cool shirt.
Yeah, I had
Yes.
some Atari on today.
There you go.
Great.
Oh,
awesome.
do you remember working with like Robinette and other people like was it Donna from Centipede and stuff like that?
In fact, Donna, I get someone calls me and says, Donna said I should call you, and she gives my number out to people who she wants to do things like this. So, lights out.
Uh-oh.
Damn motion.
You
After
showed up the
hours.
system.
No, the motion sensor said I'm not in here, so and it's out for the night.
Why am I so upset? It's only like fucking $10 and I'm like pissed at myself.
Dude.
Because you could buy another, case of Bud Light for that.
I know
Just
it's
wasted.
such a moron. I'm such
Wait, you can buy
I'll
for
send you the-
$10. You can buy the replicate carpet.
They have carpet.
Are they making that?
They have a little piece of black
1
light
foot by
carpet.
1
It's
foot.
perfect black light carpet. Yeah,
It's
I
like
want
a-
the replicates that
Doubles
have
as a
little,
mouse pad.
little cigarette burns on the
Yeah.
is that what they call it? A mouse pad?
Well, I don't know. It's pretty much.
Oh,
Yeah,
are
like-
you
yeah, they-
serious?
they call it a
are
mouse
making
pad.
Oh my god.
What's the physical
Oh my
dimensions?
God.
8 by 12 inch.
Just to put your games
Wow.
on.
But it is
cool.
UV.
It is UV. I know. I love its black.
Okay.
So
But I
you
wanna
can
know what
only,
this
you can
means.
only put like one machine on it, though.
What does this mean here? You pay $119 and you don't get the machine you want? Not
machine specific.
What does that mean?
That is
Oh,
bizarre.
is that the company that's? No, wait, no.
Damn.
What the fuck?
Damn.
I don't know what that means.
Platform, not machine.
Not machine.
You'll receive random thing that may or may not match the photo.
It's not a game.
You'll get a Tempest with the Street Fighter control.
Yeah.
That would be funny.
How do I play this game?
Well, I think it's funny that they gave you a control because on Street Fighter you'd probably break the box.
Right.
I think so
yeah.
you can play 2 players. Is for the second one,
Yeah, I know. But even playing one
but
player,
still, yeah.
even playing one player, I'd be afraid I'd break the box.
I played it once. Pretty much.
Right.
It's really hard to play.
It's
You can play
I-
charge characters, okay?
yeah,
but, like,
play Chun-Li.
Blanca
Yeah,
plays pretty well.
I wish they would put
Yeah.
a controller socket on the back. Put a
They did.
It did,
There's
right?
there's
USB
2
port.
ports for USB, so you
You have
can
to
put in.
USB
You'd have
put
to
in your own
train your.
controllers.
Do they really do USB control, or are they just?
Yeah, you can plug in a 6-button
Oh,
fight
control
stick.
for it. But, yes.
You have to like
put a
train
ho-
your
a HOTAS
pet
in
turtle
there.
to play that game.
Your
Play
lap,
on
so
that
you
one,
can play
though?
on this
My
little
stick is
screen.
bigger than the.
Yeah, way
they're
bigger.
only on Street Fighter.
Yeah.
I thought they were trying to put them into Dragon's Lair and other things too.
Well, Dragon's
they
Lair has
did.
video out, so you can do it on
Oh,
your
you know,
TV.
No, they also have
you're
a
still-
control one.
Oh, there's a control on
Okay.
it too.
Hmm
Cool.
Okay. Yeah.
That was
I have-
all those were bonuses if they reached certain goals, and every single goal got reached for Dragon's Lair.
Well, you know,
There's
Street
a lot of
Fighter
people
didn't
that
do as
still want
well
them that
because-
didn't get in on the Kickstarter too. So
Street Fighter
Um,
didn't do as well because it's for sale everywhere.
really,
I mean, they're not sold out up there. They're sold out of everything else.
Yeah.
Oh no, they have some Tempests left.
Well, yeah, because the screen's shitty.
Yeah.
Bring it around.
Yeah, there you go.
Full circle. Thank you. You can tell from this picture, right? It's like, They did a nice job of knocking them off. I like the little volcano buttons.
They're one of the best recreated arcade things I've ever seen. Because usually the cabinet isn't right, or the graphics don't look quite right.
They really licensed. That's why. I mean,
or the game itself is like the NES version or something. You know.
Yeah.
A lot of them are like that. And
I
these
like
are
the
like
coin door opens too. I thought that was clever.
Yeah,
they give you 2 coins that you can't actually put into the coin door.
No, you just lose them in your carpet.
You lose them when you first drop it. Gone.
As soon as you open them up, it's like
open it, boom, boom, gone.
They gave you coins with the change
the arcade gods.
Mm-hmm.
I did not open those either because I knew those would be in the vacuum cleaner by the end of the week.
I don't know what made me think of it, but Carrie, maybe you've seen it on our local Craigslist or whatever. Someone posted a quote unquote arcade game for sale, and I think they said it was like a rotating countertop game or something. They basically mounted an LCD screen to a bar stool, and then it has like the Pac-Man $10 joystick that you can plug and play.
Oh, wonderful.
And so you're like looking down at the top of a bar stool that has an LCD on it, and like,
and you spin it around when it's
like for the next player or whatever. I'm like, really?
That's so good.
Wow,
great for your man cave.
Yeah,
great for your man cave. Don't you love those posts?
Yes,
I really love those posts.
Yeah.
So what is on the 2 video screens above the games? I thought those were the output of a game at one point. What am I seeing back there?
Oh, Mock.
Those are just videos.
I have 80s music videos playing in the in the room. This is just a fake background, you know. But yeah, that's my room that way.
Oh, I
and
see.
you have a large library of like MTV videos and that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, it runs for like I don't know, a couple days almost worth of music videos from.
Tapes? Oh, cool.
Yeah, and it has the old MTV channel spots from back in the day. Those are thrown in randomly. It's all set to random. Yeah.
Are they on beta tapes?
No, they're not. Only on VLC player. All digital.
I'm sorry. That was
bringing it back.
Exactly.
You're beta.
Yeah, you're bringing it back
like
around.
My VCR set to rewind at the end. Yes.
So I'm going to tell you a real story about that. So I was having a Christmas party and like way too many people showed up, and I had a fireplace. And I said, I'm not going to start a fire. So I took an old Amdec monitor, analog monitor, and I painted it all black. And I put my VCR on top of it with a 6-hour Yule log loop and stuck it in the fireplace. And
awesome.
It ran for a while, but it wasn't set to auto rewind. So it just stopped. And someone came and said, oh, and your fire went out. So I waited for about 4 minutes and I opened the front and I went and hit the play button and it popped back up and I closed the front. And they stared at me for a while.
That's great.
Actually, if you were far enough away, it looked like there was a log in the fireplace, but it was actually very funny.
My gosh.
Remember like when fish tank screensavers were popular and stuff?
It's on
After Dark.
It's not After Dark.
Right.
I worked for Berkeley Systems.
That's right.
Oh, you did?
I
I
did.
didn't know that one.
I
Did
worked,
you actually
rare
make a
tropical fish?
screensaver? Or?
I worked on the Star Trek one.
Oh,
Wasn't it
cool.
an old
Star Trek.
I
screensaver
actually have
that
that.
they used to
And the
have?
Next
or-
Generation one, because we were working on it, we got to go to Paramount for the final episode of Star Trek Next Generation and watch it with the cast.
Oh no.
What?
That was a
That would have
they-
been
my
amazing.
collector's item.
God.
That would be amazing.
All good things.
All good things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All good things episode. Yep.
God, am I a nerd?
Nerd.
Nerds.
You need me to do it.
Us, one of us. One of us. One of us.
So that's
Yeah.
they gave you this booklet when you were there.
Oh
Wow.
my
It's got all this write up and pictures.
Do you
of-
realize a
good
bunch of these
episode,
guys are
too.
getting boners right now? Oh,
that
no,
was
that is.
that was the ticket to go.
Oh, rad.
Oh my God,
Wow.
Owen.
I would have been so like geeking out. That was
Got my.
The guy who plays
Nerdgasm.
Worf
Right on
the guy who plays Worf, Michael. He's hysterically funny.
Oh, really?
Michael Dorn.
Michael Dorn.
Seabart, checking out.
2 a.m.
Nerd.
That's next
All
week.
right.
Oh,
Our
Take care.
Paramount.
Night,
rep-
Seabart.
Yeah.
who's checking out? Seabart?
Seabart is.
yeah.
Yeah.
I have a Michael Dorn story. I remember reading an article that he's talking about how all the cast members that participated in the Star Trek Next Generation pinball game, which Andrew has behind him,
I saw that. I like that.
Yeah.
They were all as part of payment. Not only they got paid, but they also all got to get a pin.
So does
Yep.
Arcade Danger.
And he was one of the
Whiskey
few
Danger.
that never opened his, and it just sat in the box.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And he eventually
I thought you were
sold it
telling
on Pinside, I
Tell me
believe.
you bought it from him.
Yeah, I think he sold it on Pinside, if I remember right. Seeing it on there, but it's just kind of funny that he would never actually open his up. But I think it'd be cool to have your own voice in a pin, like a show like that.
Yeah.
I'll sell that.
You didn't see it that way.
And his voice was like that. So our rep for Berkeley Systems was his girlfriend, which I didn't know. So she was standing there chatting with me at this after party they did, and this hand hits me on the. Guy goes, mine, you know, and then it's like, what? I turn around and he's standing back there just laughing his ass off because you hear Worf put his hand on your shoulder and it was like, whoa. He was very cool. I like meeting him.
It's like, yes, sir.
You know, this kind of shit freaks me out because I've already talked about Star Trek twice today during the day. I was I don't know if I told the story. I was a high altitude beverage engineer with American.
Wait, time out. High altitude beverage engineer. This is manufacturing for airplanes?
I was a flight attendant.
Okay, thank you. I thought you were designing cans to go.
No. That's what somebody once said. I thought it was the best thing.
High
ever.
altitude
beverage engineer.
Like
Yeah. So I was there for like 18 years, and I waited on Leonard Nimoy twice, and Shatner was on with his second wife or third wife, whatever it was. But I had Leonard Nimoy on. It was a DC-10, and it was in first class. I don't know if anyone's ever been in first class, but the way it is, let's say there's 30 seats in first class. Everybody gets a menu. Okay,
right.
But you have like 34 meals, and the menu has 3 choices, but it's not really a choice because I don't have enough for everyone to get exactly what they want.
Right.
So, and the way it worked is like it was an even number of like, because a lot of people who ride in first like particular seats, so they tried to make it fair. They figure if you're going west or east, if you I forgot what it was. If you're going whatever one direction, you would start at the front and go for meal choice.
And then start the back the other way. I didn't know.
Yes, yeah. So people collect the same seats. So maybe one way they don't get what they want, and then the other way they do.
I was 1A on South US. What's the one that was in Pittsburgh?
US Air.
US Air.
US Airways.
My wife lived there for a while, and I was here, and we traveled every other week. So.
Yeah, so this particular flight, Leonard Nimoy's in the front, and I started in the back, and I'm like, oh god, I'm gonna have to get up to fucking Spock, and he's not gonna get his eggs or his special case cereal. So there was 3 choices. There was usually always 3 choices, and I'm like, and I'm going up there. I'm like, oh fuck, like I love Star Trek, and I gotta, and
you've got one tray.
Whatever, I've got everything marked off, and I'm looking like I have like one thing he can have, and he's, before I even asked him, he goes, just, I'll have the pancakes. And I fucking had pancakes left. I was so excited. I'm like, okay, I didn't even because I didn't even ask him. He just looked at me. I'll have the pancakes. I'm like, okay, no problem. My heart was like pounding. I'm like, please, I can't tell.
I was waiting for him to tell you he failed to see the logic in some listing.
No. I wanted to say that's a logical choice, sir.
Go back to the galley and replicate.
It's like when I had Charlton Heston on, and then Mrs. Heston on this, and I want to go, good choice, man, good choice. But I remember Charlton Heston because his toupee was so bad.
Which airline?
Oh no!
Like the unit was bad.
Which airline was it, Dave?
What?
Which airline were you on?
American. But I also had William Shatner on, and I was living in Buffalo and flying back and forth between New York. I would commute in and then work the flight. So I'm in Buffalo, and I'm like, I didn't have to go. My flight was like at noon to fly to New York, and I'm listening to Opie and Anthony, and Shatner was on. He was on that morning on Opie and Anthony, and I get to LA or to New York to work my flight to LA, and Shatner and his wife come on, and I'm like, fuck, I wonder if this was live, because I listened to him this morning, and I'm like, hey, was that, he's boarding, and I'm like, oh, was that live today? And he's like, the radio, and he goes like, oh yeah. I go, I listened to it, was a good show. But he was fighting with his wife, and it was classic, because he's like, not now, not here. Like, he was just like grinding his teeth. I waited on her. He was on the other side. But
did he say, shut your mouth or I'll drown you?
I know. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, she was very pleasant. And then I also had Nimoy on another time, and Carrie will appreciate this. And his wife had a little dog, and I could give two shits if you bring out your dog, whatever. It's a little tiny little shit dog. I mean, whatever. No, I have a dog. But it's a little tiny thing, and she had it under the seat. But one of the other crew members was flipping out because she's bringing out the dog. Nobody's complained. Nobody said anything. And they're in business class. So, I mean, they're not even next to it. It's just the two of them. Like, they're not bothering anyone else. Right. But this woman was, like, so adamant. Like, he's got to put his dog away. I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it because I'm already waiting on them. It's fine. And I just went over, and he was like, I told you to put the dog. I mean, he wasn't.
Don't you want to walk? Come on, be honest. Don't you want to go? Some asshole in 4A says you have to put the dog away.
No, I want to say some. I want to say some woman who just got divorced, who hates all men and hates everybody. Crew members telling me, because that's what it was. No passengers were complaining. It was just another crew member. She was by the book.
I have a lot of respect for you for doing that job, because that is not an easy job.
It wasn't as bad for me though, because I have a weird personality. Like, some people got more shit, and some people made more problems than they needed to. I was just kind of like, I was like, it is what it is. People got mad, and I'm like, I hate being here too, man. This sucks. I know we're 5 hours on the runway. I want to get the fuck off.
Come on, you got to put up with people who are crammed in. They're not happy to begin with, and they just want to pick a fight, right? I mean,
it was, but they could pick a fight easier with the women, and some of the gay guys. Like, I could see, like, they took advantage of it.
Was there a ball? I'm sorry.
No, I literally, I'm
very funny.
No, I'm gonna go there once, because I remember I was waiting on this guy. This guy was totally fine with me, and it was one of the real flamboyant gay guys, and we would give cookies at the end of this service, and the guy, I'll help you out. He wasn't working in my cabin, but in the business, he was in coach, and he came up and he's like, I'll help you out. Do this. He was that fucking guy in 4A. I'm like, which guy? That guy? That guy was fine to me. And the guy literally looked at me. He goes, Dave, look at this. He licked his cookie and went back and gave it to him. Because the guy was such a dick to him. But he was fine to me. And I'm like, oh, Christ. I just, So never mess with anybody who has anything to do with food.
Never mess with service.
Never mess with service.
But like that, they have it hard enough.
Did you ever have people that were regulars? I mean, I flew when I was working for Pac Bell. I flew the film company. I flew to Washington D.C. every week, and the people on the two flight attendants were on almost every flight, and they got to know me by name because I was always in the same damn seat. So I get on the plane one time, and she walks over and she says, "Owen?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Okay, thanks." And she walks out. What the hell was that? And then the ground controller walks on. He says, "Are you Owen Rubin?" I said, "Yes, I am." He goes, "Okay, thanks." And he walks out. Like, okay, I'll bite. What's going on? The plane takes off. Nobody says anything. As it's landing, the pilot says, "The passenger Owen Rubin, please remain on the plane after we land."
What?
Like, yeah, that's right. What? It's like, and so these two air marshals walk in. And they said, "We believe you're a what do they call it? No, it's stowaway. We don't have your ticket." Took it out of my pocket. It was paper ticket days. Okay, took it out of my pocket. They didn't pull the paper out when I handed it to them. They just handed it back to me at the gate. So the flight attendant knew me by name and could have walked up and said, "Do you have your ticket with you?" "Yes, here it is," and fixed it, because she knew who I was. She sees me every goddamn week. And these guys had to put the air marshals on. So I would get escorted off the plane by two air marshals. And my wife is waiting at the gate. She's like, "What the hell did you do?"
Crazy.
It's like, because when they used to have to pull tickets, right? They didn't pull the ticket at the gate. So after they closed and the plane took off, they're going through all the tickets, and they don't have one for the person in 1A. So I must have climbed on board and stowed away.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it wasn't 100% match. And back in the day, my family owned the travel agency before I was.
That.
You could also. instead of your Owen Rubin, it would just be Owen/R, because if you wanted someone else to use it, it doesn't mean male or female. So anybody could use this before IDs.
Right.
You know, anybody could go to the airport. So we used to sell tickets like that, never put their first name, because if they want someone else to travel, it doesn't matter.
Come on, the ground crew knew me. That if I got this, it's those flights that made me stop flying United, because Pac Bell had this thing, like they'd send me to Washington, and before I get to come back, they'd fire me down to Florida, and they'd off to St. Louis. I mean, they changed it all the time. So they paid full fare coach tickets.
Very expensive.
Which were easy
back in the day.
Okay.
Yes.
And I would always, I had enough miles. I'd always get an upgrade, and I'd go up to the desk, and the guy this is, I'm sorry, Mr. Rubin, we've had a plane change, and we've had to move you out of business class. And he hands me a ticket, and it's what's the one that's 252? Is that a DC-10?
Yes.
So it's a DC-10. I'm in 14E. That's the center of the section, the center of the row of 5.
It's
horrible. I looked at the guy, I said, that's a $2,200 coach ticket. Kick someone else out of their seat. And they said, you can take it or leave it. So I snatched the ticket out of his hand. I walked across the aisle to American and said, when do you go to Washington? He says, we have a flight in an hour. I handed him the ticket because you used to be able to do that. It would work. And he said, I'll put you in first class for that. Handed me a ticket. So I come out of the gate across from the United gate, and the gate agent recognized me coming off of American and wanted to know why. He came running over. Why are you on American? And I told him the story. He goes, well, they gave you a downgrade kit, didn't they? I said, what the hell is that? And so when they move you back, they're supposed to give you like two first class leg tickets and drink coupons. Nope, didn't get that. He handed me a stack of them like that. He said, you got to keep flying United. I gave up on United. That airline sucked big time. And I'm sorry if there's United people listening. Worst flight crews.
Nobody's listening. Don't worry.
Ever.
Yeah. Pretty much that's the 9 of us.
Yeah.
It all depends.
Pretty much a private conversation.
Yeah. Wait. So how many does there might be 3 more in addition.
I have never hated an airline more.
We get about 200 people almost an episode. So
there's someone
I think
out there.
it's probably the same like 5 people just watching the thing over and over again.
over and over.
Who's a pilot for United. Hey, my neighbor's
Put
a
on
pilot
loop.
for United. He used to fly the Hawaii flights, and I told him that story, and he goes, I wouldn't sit back there.
Oh, that was absolutely horrible.
When they made Coach Plus, and they did it by pushing all the other seats. I'm only 5'7", and my knees hit the back of the seat.
Oh, it's awful. Yeah. It's just awful to cram you in there. It's gotten so.
It was nuts.
Terrible.
Don't even get me started.
But poor Andrew.
At more like 6'7".
Exactly 6'7".
Yeah, I mean, if you're over 5'8" or above, you're not sitting in those seats. It's just, yeah. Ugh. And the one you paid more for is what it used to be, right?
Yeah.
Even Southwest, when they redid their planes about 2 years ago, they moved them a little closer together. There's still more than United American, but
yeah.
So the killer for United for me was what finally was the straw that broke the camel's back. As I was in St. Louis and our meeting ended early, so I as I'm driving to the airport, I got on the phone and said, "I have a 4 o'clock flight. Can I get on an earlier flight?" And they go, "Oh yeah, there's one at 12:35." Okay, put me on it. Well, it's a $75 change fee. Fine, put me on it. Here's my credit card. So I'm driving on my cell phone trying to do this, and I get to the airport and it's like 11:30, and I run up to the gate and there's no one there, and it says indefinitely delayed.
What the hell?
Okay, they just moved me to this flight. So
yeah.
I went to the United service desk and I said, you guys just put me on this flight. And the woman says, that flight never took off from Detroit. It's going to be canceled.
It's never coming here.
Oh, jeez.
I said, well, can I get back on my 4 o'clock flight? She goes,
no,
you can sleep here or Chicago. We'll put you up overnight. And I said, no, I'm going home today. You just took my full fare ticket, charged me additional $75, and then you're telling me that you put me on a flight that doesn't exist, and you want me to pay more to change to a flight? They want another change fee if they put me on a flight.
Oh, they're so gross.
And I saw a Southwest flight land, and I called Southwest, and I said, can I get, how much? $89. Great, but give me a ticket. And I got home before United would have, because it stopped in Las Vegas or something. It was like, I just said, I'm not flying United unless someone drags me on the plane.
When it works, it's a good system, but when it's bad, it's bad.
Yeah,
it's all bad.
Everything falls apart. And I will tell any of you, don't fly with me, because
the whole overbooking thing is bullshit. Where they're allowed to do that. That's just
Well, they would do it because, like with Owen, you're on business and people would not show up. So they're like, oh, we'll overbook. And worst case scenario, we just start offering more money and then people are going to take it. Oh, yeah, I'm right here. And they're still good because, it's like, hey, you offer $1,000 and,
so
I'm going to take
IRC,
I love the overbooking and I miss it because they don't do it as much anymore.
No, that was why they could do that because they would. You are guaranteed on that flight, and they have to offer, and they'll keep going up. But for some reason, in some year, they kind of, and then you hear these stories where people, they were supposed to just keep offering. You like, this is my seat. I'm on a commercial airline. I'm not on a JetBlue. I'm not on a Southwest. You're on an American, United, whatever, and you're guaranteed to be there.
So before that whole United thing happened, I was flying to DC, and they announced, $200 for if someone will take the flight at 1:00. Instead of the one at 10. So I walked up and said, I'll waive the 100 if you just move me to first class on the next flight. She says, oh no, we don't do that. Okay. I said, I got a good seat. I'm on the plane. So then it went to 200. Then it went to 400. Then it went to 600. I walked back up again. I said, I'll waive the 600, put me in first class. No, we don't do that. And they got up to $800, and the woman walked over to me and she said, okay, we'll put you in first class. I said, oh, that deal's off the table. I said, nice. 800 first class, and I want the $400. So she walked back over and she came back with the coupon and the whole thing and took it. And I was like, no, you didn't take it when I offered it. That deal doesn't stay. And there were over like 6 people, right? So
yeah.
Wow.
So in the IRC, we got someone that signed in as United Airlines, and they said, sorry to hear about your experience. And then they followed up with another comment that says, if it means anything, my favorite game is Skydiver. That's great.
Great. It is.
I apologize to anybody from United. I have just had such bad customer service on United. I just won't fly it anymore. I remember we had, and because I was flying every week, I was a 100K flyer. I was so many miles. My wife says, well, I want to go somewhere. So we tried to see if we get Hawaii tickets. No. So she's on the phone with this poor agent for like an hour. She goes, put me someplace warm. And he goes, you're going to San Juan Capistrano. It's like, you're flying first class everywhere just to use up the miles. I had like 460,000 miles at some point. It's like
United is the Wyoming of air travel.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
I don't know anything about Wyoming, but I can. But I have a clue now.
Right.
There's an episode.
Yeah.
It's a running joke.
The list of good airlines has gotten shorter and shorter and shorter over the years.
Remember we had Virgin that was like trying to be better, but then they died.
And
they were good originally. They were very good.
Yeah,
they were great.
And
then they
I happen to like Southwest because I know how to play the Southwest seat game. Right.
I mean, what happened to Virgin? Like, did it not make money, or
I don't know why
those tickets were even more money too.
Yeah, I believe it got eaten by Delta.
Alaska.
Alaska. Oh, that's right, Alaska. Thank you.
Yeah, Alaska got them.
Maybe people.
We used to have a flight from.
That plane was very purple when you were inside. It's like
yes. Yeah,
that was their signature, right?
And they had the cool music when you went up to the ticket windows, and they were kind of hip. I liked Virgin.
Carrie, you've been on them. They leave those lights purple, and they kind of hurt your eyes after about an hour.
Do they really have them purple the whole time?
I really thought about that. I think you're right. Yeah,
like your room.
It makes sense.
So I'm
like my
an airline freak. And
fit right in.
I got onto Southwest once and they had it purple, and I walked over to the panel and changed the lights. And she looked at me and says, how the hell do you know that? I said, I have friends at Boeing. And I walked to my seat and she goes, how did you know how to do that? It was so upset that I walked over and changed the light color.
You're not supposed to be doing that.
You're not supposed to do that.
You broke the rules.
I set it to a nice
air marshal.
Yeah, exactly.
Nowadays,
shoot that man.
Yeah. It would have been dragged off the plane on your face.
Probably today you would be, right? Yeah.
On Ruben, we'd like you to remain after the flight.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen people dragged off planes these days.
They're not wearing masks or whatever.
No, this one guy he would not sit next to this person, and he was yelling at the flight attendant, wouldn't sit down, and they're waiting. They can't taxi because he's standing up, right? He refuses to sit there. And finally, though, you could see she's up on the phone talking to the captain, and Then the two of the engines went down, the door reopened, and 2 air marshals came out and escorted this guy off the plane.
Oh,
kicking and screaming. And some religious thing, I'm guessing, that he wouldn't sit next to this person.
I had a flight to Florida to go to Disney World with my daughter, and this girl, this 15-year-old girl that's sitting next to me, before we even took off, kept barfing in her barf bag.
Oh.
And she was green. I mean, she was so sick. And I'm gotta sit for an 8-hour flight or whatever it is to Florida with that. And she barfs a couple times, rolls up the thing, and she raises her hand for the
to get another one.
And she goes, "Can I get a couple more barf bags for the trip?"
No.
They're like, "How many times have you already thrown up?" And it was like really heavy, the one she's holding.
I'm guessing you skipped the meal on that plane.
Yeah, and they're like, "You can't fly because you've already thrown up. You're all dehydrated. We can't take the chance because if you throw up again, we got to turn the whole plane around." She's all, "Oh," and so they escorted her off the plane and had her sit and get rehydrated and see if she threw up some more.
It's not true. They just didn't want to deal with a barfing person, which there's no like
awful.
Fucking if she barfs, like we have there's
the
not
worst part of
formula.
There's a 3-bag limit.
Yeah. The worst part of that is but as she's throwing up in it, she had long hair and some of her hair got in her barf. So she threw her hair back and her hair hit me in the face full of barf.
Oh, God.
And all of a sudden you're going to Disney World with the fucking flu.
Yeah,
they should put her on the plane next to the guy that I was on that we got stuck in the penalty box on hold for like 2.5 hours, and they wouldn't let anybody get up, and he needed to go to the bathroom. He needed to pee. And he finally rang the button, and the flight attendant mentions, "I said you can't go." He goes, "It's not my chair."
Yeah.
He was like, I think he was going to pee in his seat. I really did. She finally said, "Okay, go quick. You know, because I think he was ready to pee on the seat. You know, it's not his chair.
Give me some plastic cups.
Yeah.
Put him next to the little barf. Yeah, they'd be a great couples.
Looks like Dave has some stories there to tell about that.
I just what you said about plastic cups made me. So I was working. I was working from Dallas to Portland, and
4.5 hours. So
yeah, it's about right. Yeah, it's about right. So so I'm sitting there in this heavier black guy, and the reason I'm even saying he's black guy is because he's coming on like a cane. And he goes, he's a funny guy, and he goes, "I know I'm going to Portland." I go, "Well, how come?" He goes, "Because I'm the only black guy." You know, very nice, sitting in first class. He sits in first class. He's on the window seat. There's an old lady on the aisle seat. So I do the whole service. I'm thinking, what did he have? He had like a club soda. He had like a Jack and Coke, whatever. So you give him drinks and they give him the food, steak or whatever. So when people don't eat, I get to eat the leftover food. Nice. So I've already collected all the stuff, and I'm up in.
Wait, they don't have a meal for you regularly?
Sometimes they did, but not usually.
So you eat it like right there in front of them before you take it away?
No. I'm tucked in the galley. They've already eaten. Somebody didn't eat the filet mignon.
You're like, well, clearly you didn't eat that, so I'm gonna go ahead and eat it up.
No, I'm not. I'm not doing
all that.
No, it's not.
It's like busting the trays. Like, all right, cool, that's for me.
No, turn into the Biscoff cookies.
Oh, look,
you need a raise.
Cookie.
No, not
what? I'm hungry. Right?
No, not that bad. No, there was, because a lot of people would say, "No, I don't want that," or I would do the choice thing again. The only thing I have is left is steak, and they want the salad. Because there's not enough for. Oh no, that's all I got left. I pass.
So you ate a lot of pancakes.
A lot of pancakes. So I'm up there eating it, and then that gentleman comes up and we're shooting the shit, normal. I'm from Buffalo. Oh, it's cold there. Same conversation I have with everybody.
Every week, every flight. Yeah.
Yeah. He's waiting to go to the bathroom, and then I'm eating it, and we have this conversation about Buffalo and whatever. So and then all of a sudden he starts going, oh God. I'm like, is this guy having a fucking heart attack? I'm like, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden he's like, dude, I can't hold it. And he starts unzipping he's like literally gonna piss, like he's gonna piss himself because he's waiting to go to the bathroom. I'm like, and I'm just like frozen. I'm like, oh fuck, there's nothing around here. I cleaned everything up. There was nothing to give him.
Nothing to give him.
So you drop to your knees and open your mouth.
Yeah. So I gotta bend down. I gotta open a cart, and I got a coffee. I got a coffee cup. He's literally pissing on the floor. I grab the coffee cup and I go like this, and the piss is going. And I'm like, "Sir, you got to hold this." And I'm like, "I'm not gonna catch your goddamn piss." And I'm like, I felt bad for the guy because he had some medical, obviously he was going to piss his own pants. So I go, "Sir, here, get in here." And I start pulling out cups, it's like, so he
Filling up the cup.
Just stacking them on the counter.
Yes. I was like, I was happy that it was actually me because somebody else would have probably freaked out. And then, so he filled up all the cups and dumped them. And he's like, "Oh man," he goes, "You know what?" And then he goes to bed, goes out, he goes, "You know what? I really had to go. I got up to ask the lady, and then she got up, and then I let her go first because it was an old, but she was in there forever."
A gentleman.
Yes, and then it was an old lady, and she was in there forever, and he was like, I had some issue, obviously. And then I was like, I just can't believe I'm like literally on my knees, and the guy's dick's out, and I'm like, "Sir, you got to hold this cup. I'm not going to hold this cup while you piss in it."
Wow.
And then once I got up, I go,
"Oh, hey, by the way, great dick."
Hey.
I'm like,
so many
it was like kind of like that.
The next day you quit.
No, I was just like, "Dude, you're gonna fucking piss right here." Like there was that frozen moment, like, "Oh fuck, you really gotta go, dude." Like, fuck.
Wow.
It was
this is
crazy.
first class.
Wow.
Yeah,
he was
that's
in
some
first
service.
class. He was a nice guy. I felt bad for him. Like he had some medical, like he's obviously like he was embarrassed and whatever. But if it was somebody else besides me, they might have been, like freaking out. I was just like trying to.
Yeah.
I was just, but I'm like, "Oh Christ, there's no cups here. Fuck, dude, you're pissing? Shit."
Okay, so you're a flight attendant. You know what TSO stands for, right?
TSO.
Terminal Services Operations. Okay, that's the name of the.
I've never heard that.
The name of the government group that has to certify everything that goes on a plane.
I've never heard that term.
It's actually Federal Aviation Terminal Services Operation, FATSO, and it is stamped on the seatbelt extenders.
I did not know that. I mean, I was there from 1995 to 2013. I never
looked. They have all the writing on it. It says spelling it out. It says F period, A period, T period, S period, O period. And I was like, dude, did anybody think like who they're handing these to? It's like, that's totally insulting.
Wrong.
That's not what it means. Yeah, I know that's not what it means. Write it out.
Yeah.
But Dave, what did you do with all those piss cups once you collected them? Was it like Cheech and Chong? Did someone grab it and?
Well, I just told him to dump them in the garbage. I go, "Hey, just throw them in that little thing there. Just toss them all in there. It's all good, man."
Gotta give them a garbage
ground
can
services takes care of that, right?
Toss them all in there.
Oh man!
And I remember
that's horrible. That would have been a rough day.
A dog story. We were on Miami runway. There was thunderstorms in South Florida, so you go out. We're just stuck there, and somebody had a dachshund that was just shitting in its cage.
Oh no!
And it's like humid because they kept shutting. It was at 727. And so something with the APU, so they kept shutting it off because they were trying to like save fuel.
So the thunderstorms were making it scared, right?
Well, I don't, or the dog was just sick, but it wasn't like there wasn't like air flowing through the cabin. So this dog shitting and the owner's like, "We're sorry." The whole cab, the whole plane's like, "Jesus Christ!" Like,
oh no!
I mean, it smelled like somebody just took a dump right next to you, and this little dog's like, "Can we have some more napkins? We'll try and clean it up." I don't know if they gave it something to go to sleep or whatever, and then just reacted, or they just.
Were you sitting at the gate during that time?
No, we were on the run. We were on the tarmac in Miami.
Wow.
So and there was thunderstorms. We were waiting to take off, but we kept being delayed because
you turn the APU off. You have to send a truck back out.
But this was a 727. This is a long time. I mean, that was in the mid 90s, and it was hot as shit. But there was some reason they kept.
When I was at Atari, I was for a while in Bali. I was what's called the DECUS librarian. That was deck equipment. I had all these tapes, and I would lend them out to people who needed programs. And NASA Ames was one of the clients, so we got to fly the 727 simulator after work. So I had my license, I would have had enough hours to certify on a 727.
Well, 727, if anybody doesn't know, it actually had 3 people in the cockpit, like airplane. You had a flight engineer. It was like when I worked at American, it was DC-10, and they had 3 guys. Because you always see like a Superman, there's like 4 or 5 guys in there, like, hey, it's just the
new guys in the jump seat
too. Yeah, besides someone in the jump seat, but at the 727 DC-10, there was actually a flight engineer, a 2-striper. There's a guy sitting. We always just goes always looking at maps. That's what we joked. He's the engineer.
He was there at a big panel of switches and lights.
Yeah. But it was wild. But yeah, I remember that dog shitting in Miami.
Tektronix.
No, that
Tektronix.
So the flight simulator at NASA was what's called a class A, I think, simulator. So it's real flight time, and they would put you in situations and you'd forget, and your hands would get sweaty. And you're doing these things. They would just screw with you on things that could go wrong. And they had a guy sitting at the engineering console. He would like turn an engine off, and he would screw with you just to see what you would do.
And most of them were really older guys. Like, it was like the old school, like the DC-10. It was like, whoa, man, this guy's like ancient.
The 727 was a great plane, though. It really was.
Yeah, 727 DC-10. Like, I landed standing up a couple times in the DC-10 during fog because we didn't realize we were that close to the ground because it was so smooth. Like, we're trying to, like, dude, we're on the fucking ground. Like, it was just because I guess that extra engine, just the stability, like, whoa, like never another plane, Yeah, but never another. The 3 engines were just like totally different, and most people won't. I never was actually on a 7.4.
If you shut down your engines and you turn off the APU and you got no pressure to start the engines again, you have to bring a truck out because they can use the bleed from the APU to start one.
Or they just had one going. It was ridiculous. Like we it was hot.
Told me the other day that idling a jet on the tarmac uses like 60% of the fuel it uses when flying or something. It's crazy nuts to idle. I don't remember what the number was. It was higher than I really thought it would be. So when they sit there on the I've been on a plane that's been on the tarmac in line so long that they gave up and they came back and got fueled again.
Wow.
Shit.
Me, I was the longest I was on one plane going from LA to New York. I was on that aircraft for 17 hours. A single plane with the same people. Because we had to land in those thunderstorms. We had to land in DC, and then we sat there for 5 hours. This is after coming across from LA to DC. Sat there for 5 hours, and we finally flew to JFK. When we landed, we had to wait for 4 hours for a gate. It was anarchy. It was fucking. It was crazy. So just put in the same. Let me put in the same time frame. So we took off, or people got on at, let's say, 9:30 a.m. This is the same time zone. They didn't get off till 2:30 a.m.
Wow. The next day.
The next day. It was absolutely crazy. And I was like, when we landed at JFK, we had somebody who said they were diabetic, and she was like, "Listen, I'm okay now, but if I don't get food, you're gonna have to call me an ambulance." So we thought, oh, okay, all right, no, we'll tell so we'll probably get a closer gate time then. Nope, they just sent a truck out, got her off.
So I had a flight on Southwest that went cheap ticket. It went Oakland, Los Angeles, somewhere in Texas, might have been Houston, and then it was supposed to go to Fort Lauderdale. So the flight leaves like an hour and a half late from Oakland because of weather. It gets to Houston, and they want to they won't let you stop. They take the people and they rush them onto the change of plane because they were waiting for it. And it's off. I can't go get anything to eat, nothing. And we're going to New Orleans, and it circled New Orleans and circled and circled and circled. And we were up there circling probably for 3 hours until we ran out of fuel. And they said, "Oh, we got to go to our emergency airport." And they went off into the Panhandle in Florida somewhere. And they landed at this airport that the lights on the runway were on, but the buildings were dark. So they sat for a while, and they're talking to somebody. And US Air turns on a gate. Someone turns on the last gate in the airport for them to pull up to. So they finally pull up to that. And they say, "We'll let you off the plane, but you can't go anywhere because the airport's closed. It's not an international airport. We stopped at. So you have to wait there." So we couldn't get to where we're going in New Orleans. My wife was on the plane, the one that left after me. She got in. The storm had cleared. So that's we're about at 14 hours now. We're on the ground. people are hungry. There's a kid by himself. This guy delivering pizzas comes walking into the airport, hands one to the kid and leaves. It's like, okay, what the hell? So this guy in first class said, oh, I live in here, so I ordered a pizza for the kid. Because you've ordered for everybody else.
Right, yeah.
Then we're there so long, the woman who ran the bar in the airport opened the bar. So all she's got to eat is peanuts and pretzels and drinks. So they finally get clearance to leave. They fuel up the plane.
Nobody cares anymore.
And the captain says, we can't leave. We've timed out. So they've timed out. They can't fly.
Yeah.
So like, okay, great. Now what? And they said, well, we're going to, now that New Orleans is open, they're going to fly a plane to here. And they're going to bring, so they kicked like 6 people off of a flight that was going to Fort Lauderdale. And they put a crew on. This plane lands, taxis up, they put a stair up, these people walk off, our crew walks on, that plane turns and off it goes. Okay. So I was supposed to get there like at 4 p.m. and I got there at 3:30 in the morning. So I know that, and I did not want another bag of peanuts. No. Right. Way too many people. They're trying to hand them out and give them to people.
Yeah.
I know this story.
So much you could have.
I've been there. Yeah. And that was, I was also we were getting ready to land in Indianapolis and we saw the airport get hit by lightning. It was like crack right down the middle. The airport goes dark. So they diverted us off north somewhere to an airport that couldn't handle our plane at the gates. We were too big. So it looked like a Twilight Zone episode. They're taxiing really slowly and you're looking out the windows and these planes are all shut down because they can't fuel them because they have no stairs or gate to put them on. And you're required to have that when you fuel a plane, right? With passengers on it. So they're all parking in different places, dark. They've got the doors open dark. They're not running anything, waiting for clearance to fly back to Indianapolis. That was like 6 hours sitting on a plane, powered it down.
It's awful. It's awful. It's a good.
Wyoming is sounding better and better all the time.
Yes, right.
The problem is I've flown so many miles that I've had the horror stories. I was on a United plane when wind shear hit right as food service had come out. Everybody got off that plane, looked like they had been in a food fight. Like trays just went up in the air, drinks went flying. It was a mess.
Oh man.
It was just, boom, just a sudden drop. And I had a glass in my hand and I saw the liquid come out of it. And I like tried to go like that to catch it. It just splashed everywhere.
Yeah, that's like clear air turbulence. I never had that.
Yeah.
Put in perspective, I flew 90 hours a month for 13 years approximately.
Yeah. I'm sure you've seen all these things.
That never happened to me. I mean, it's still random. I mean, for that clear air turbulence. I mean, I knew people that had it and crew members I worked with. Like, I looked over and the other guy's head was stuck in the fuselage at the top of the plane because boom, or whatever.
The flight attendant was injured because she was pushing the drink cart and she kind of went feet up because she held onto the cart because the cart was heavy. And then when they stopped falling, she fell and she hit her arm on the edge of the cart. And she broke
that's what everyone always said. I go, listen, you're gonna put your seatbelt on. I'm the one who's gonna get hurt because I'm not seats buckled in.
She held on, which was I mean, otherwise she would have been smacking into the ceiling anyway. But unfortunately, she went down forward across it and she cracked this part of her arm. There was a doctor on the plane that tied it all up for her, but she definitely.
I've got a turbulent story. My old man, I was born in Los Angeles, and my parents wanted to go back to Argentina. And because, wanted to go back to the home country and all that stuff, my dad had a income tax business. He did really well that year and basically sold the business, right? And so he had shipped my mom and us to Argentina on a previous flight, and he came by himself. And he had basically converted all of his sale of the business to cash. And he was carrying, and this is before you had to declare the $10,000 when you travel internationally. So he's got all his cash in like a fanny belt inside the pants because you don't want to be showing that stuff off, right? And so he tells me he goes to the bathroom, and he's taking care of business. He's sitting down, and they hit the turbulence, and then all of a sudden, boom! All the money flying around in the lavatory. Right? And so the very first thing he does is he tries to cover. He's got to sit down and cover that hole because he doesn't want to lose any of that money down the.
Yeah, if you flush, it'll suck it in.
He's in like the most expensive snow globe on the planet.
Yes, exactly.
What are those booths called where you have to grab the money?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was that.
I'm very pleased to have a job where I don't have to fly anymore. I just got so tired of flying. I mean, the weird part is when I had that job at Pac Bell, my wife would go, I want to go on vacation. Let's fly somewhere. Can I stay home?
Staycation.
All these miles, I did not want to teleport.
We just drive somewhere.
It's like, I'll drive to New York. Okay, you had to be the same way, right? You just got tired of being on airplanes.
Well, when I switched jobs, it was funny because I was like, in was it 2009? I'm like, wow, this is the first time since 1995, from 1995 to 2009, when 3 months went by. Wow, this is the longest I've not been on an airplane in 13 years. Like 3 months. Like I always was on an airplane, always. So
did you fly free?
Yeah, I still do. My wife's a flight attendant, so I still do. But like, I mean, I flew to Grinkers and or Idaho for the arcade thing we did in Grinkers, and I'm in Buffalo, New York. But it was so nice. Like the last time I went, it cost me $40. It wasn't last time I went. It was smooth. But I've gone other years where I'm like, I spent like from 9:30 in the morning till 8 o'clock at night in Salt Lake City because I couldn't get on a flight. And then I finally got on, but I was almost contemplating like, what am I going to do? Like, if I don't get on this, I just wasted this whole damn day in Salt Lake City.
Oh, you have to fly. You have to fly.
Standby.
Standby. Yeah.
You're fading, aren't you?
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. So you could get bumped at the last minute.
Yeah. And I got to the point where towards the end, I was buying a one-way home because one year I got stuck and I had to spend another night. And I'm like, all right, I've already been gone so long. My wife's going to get pissed.
Well, wait.
Let me just buy the one way. Huh?
There's trains and automobiles.
But not. I don't want to spend.
I'm sorry, bad movie reference. Sorry.
Yeah, but I'm on the West Coast. It's not like I'm Chicago to New York.
Okay.
I'm on the other side of the country. Like this is days. It's like. So I started buying one-way home tickets because.
Can you get a discount when you buy your tickets?
Yeah, a little bit. Last time I went, it was fine. I just because I can look at the flights kind of gauge. But I mean, now everything's all messed up anyway, so I can't go anywhere.
Right.
In fact, I went to Fun Spot in New Hampshire, and usually I'll just fly and have Leo pick me up instead of driving 8 hours. But there was only like one nonstop to Boston. There used to be like 6 a day.
I know it's really. So I had to go. My global entry was up for renewal, so I had to go into San Francisco International to go get interviewed, and it was really weird to walk coming down from the parking lot and seeing the international terminal where there was like 2 planes sitting out there.
No, there's nothing. No. There's nothing. My friend I just talked to, he goes, there's nobody who still works there. He's like, well, no one will let us in the country. The international flighting's dead right now. It's like we can't go anywhere.
This San Francisco International, you know how big that is. There were 2 planes. Yeah. You could see 2 planes, one on each side of the airport, which I went, now, what idiot decided to put one over there and one way over there?
Right. Social distancing.
That means they have to open services. So I did ask a question of an airport once, because it used to be a long-running joke. If you were on a plane with me going somewhere, I guarantee you we'd be at the last gate in the tarmac, as far out as you can get.
Yep.
And I asked the guy at Southwest one, I said, all right, why the hell are we way out here when all those gates are empty? And he said, contract with the airport. They want you to pass all the stores. So they fill them from the out.
Oh, no way.
Fill them from the back in, he said.
Oh, that sucks.
Normally they're assigned.
When
they're open, they put them far out. And you know what? I believed him because it seems like every airport I've gone to, when I come in late at night, it's always
they've always done that.
It's always way out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, but that late at night, the stores aren't open.
Yeah, the stores are closed anyway.
Yeah. So it doesn't make any that. I don't know about that one.
All right, guys, I gotta call it a night.
Me too. I gotta call it a night too.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys.
Yeah,
hey, Owen, it was awesome.
Owen, we appreciate you hanging out with us.
Oh no,
sorry for the airline hangout.
I'm happy.
The airline hangout.
I have more flight horror stories.
No, we all had a great time. You're definitely welcome back anytime you want to come on.
Yeah, for sure.
Let me know when. You know where to find me.
I love the stories.
I'm on.
We need to get you on with Bob, and you guys can kind of riff off each other.
That'd be great.
Did Bob disappear? He probably did.
Yeah,
he said his boss was gonna give him shit if he didn't go to bed soon.
Yeah,
boss is
I saw
an
that too.
asshole. It really is.
But thanks for joining us. It was a good time.
And Whiskey Danger, thanks for setting this up for us too. The Atari
another
insiders.
great guest.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm happy to. We have to drag a few other people on here that we know. I have to get.
Yeah.
Robert.
Yes, I will. I'll be in touch.
Yeah, we can see if we can get Robert. He's a lot of fun to get on.
Right. Awesome,
guys.
All right, Steve or Mark.
I'll just say thanks, people from the IRC, for joining us and the questions, and thank you, Owen, for joining us and giving us a little insight into all the tidbits and history of arcade machines that we're all fans of. So I just love hearing all the weird little stories and stuff. So it was just a real treat to have you. So thank you for joining us. Yeah, it was great.
It was fun. It's nice to get to know you guys.
Yeah, it was fun.
I'll be back.
All right, until next time, guys.
When COVID's over and we can go to CAX, we'll say hi to you.
CAX would be great.
Now that I know the secret handshake, I might just sneak in occasionally.
There you go.
You do have the secret
that
link.
Extra guy in the corner down here. See you guys later.
Okay, man.
Thanks again, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And
all right, episode 245, right?
Thanks, Perko.
In the bag.
Hey, Ball.
Yep. Everybody